2 games in a row, including last night's disaster in Vancouver. But Philadelphia is powerful, however, not at full strength. Tim Kerr on the left still leads the way in Philly, but last year's scoring leader, Brian Propp, he'll be out several more weeks with a knee injury. Tim Kerr is piling up goals at a furious pace, notching his 30th career hat trick last Sunday night against the St. Louis Blues. In the Smythe division, the Edmonton Oilers have taken the lead again by 5 points. They have the second-best record in hockey. They feature 3 familiar top guns in Jari Kurri, Wayne Gretzky, and Mark Messier. All can score at any time, but Wayne Gretzky knows that to stop the Flyers tonight, the Oilers must come out flying.
We want to get the lead on them. We feel that they probably are the best team in the NHL playing with a lead. Hopefully when they come in, we can get up 1 or 2 goals and make them change their style a little bit and open it up. And hopefully we can capitalize on that.
Tonight, live on ESPN, it's the 2 best teams in the NHL, the Philadelphia Flyers and Edmonton Oilers. Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. The Edmonton Oilers hosting the Philadelphia Flyers. And a pleasant good evening and happy holidays, everyone. I'm Tom Mees. Welcome to our NHL Tonight studios. The Oilers and the Flyers. You need say nothing more in the National Hockey League. These two are the powerhouses, of course, met a few years ago in the Stanley Cup Finals. Oilers won it 4-1, and this rivalry has really developed since then. There have been 2 games played already this year between these 2 teams. Both of them won by the Flyers. Both those games were played at the Spectrum in Philadelphia. But tonight's game will be played at the Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton. And because it's the final game between these 2 teams in the regular season, the next time they can meet would be the Stanley Cup Finals. Let's go to Northlands Coliseum now. Ken Wilson and Bill Clement are standing by. And, gentlemen, for this reason, the final regular season game, it has to be a big one.
Tom, a lot of people tend to belittle the regular season in the NHL and say everything revolves around the playoffs. But, Bill Clement, there's plenty at stake tonight.
Sure there is, especially because teams haven't been winning on the road this year in the NHL. And these 2 teams, the Flyers and the Oilers, figure to be there close to the end. Of course, Edmonton has to get by Calgary, but that home ice advantage all the way through is at stake. Besides that, there's $200,000 that goes to the team that finishes with the best record overall. That's something at stake, too, I would say.
I would agree. And tonight, we are going to look at the top 2 goalies in the NHL, Edmonton's Grant Fuhr and Philadelphia's Ron Hextall.
Well, Fuhr is spectacular in his own right. He is underrated by some people because he has a lot of goals scored on him, but he is fabulous. He will be at the Oilers' end. Ron Hextall, with his athletic ability, he skates as well as many defensemen. He shoots like a forward, so he is spectacular in his own right. I'm really looking forward to seeing them at either end of the ice tonight.
Also on display tonight here in Edmonton, the top 2 defensemen in the NHL. The Oilers' Paul Coffey and the Flyers' Mark Howe.
Well, Coffey won the Norris Trophy as the league's best defenseman last year. Mark Howe finished second. I really think he has something to prove. And in my mind, any time when you get 2 great athletes coming face-to-face like this, it brings the best out in them. I'm looking forward to seeing them go head-to-head, too.
Well, this is going to be exciting. It's like the Dodgers against the Yankees, the Bears versus the Raiders, or the Celtics and the Lakers. Tonight, it's the Oilers and the Flyers here in Edmonton. Tom, back to you.
Thanks very much, Ken and Bill Clement. It should be a great game tonight, and hockey fans across North America will be able to enjoy it right here on ESPN, the Oilers and the Flyers. Remember now, these 2 teams are meeting for the final time in the regular season. Not only does it mean a last chance against each other to maybe plant a little seed of doubt in the other team's mind should they meet in the finals, but also remember that $200,000 first prize, which goes to the team that claims the regular season point championship in the National Hockey League. That team last year was Edmonton. 1 game already underway in Buffalo, where Calgary on a John Tonelli goal leads the Sabres 1-0. A couple of other games we'll be checking in on tonight as time and circumstances permit, like the Winnipeg Jets Minnesota North Stars being played at the Winnipeg Arena in Winnipeg, Manitoba. The North Stars, of course, in the Norris Division, the Jets from the Smythe. Meanwhile, at historic Chicago Stadium, the ever-improving Blackhawks are on a roll, take on the Washington Capitals. Significant game because Bobby Carpenter had been rumored to be back on the ice for this game, but no, he will not play tonight. He has worked out with the Capitals. He's expected to play Tuesday in Washington against Hartford. And, of course, coming up next on the NHL Tonight, the Edmonton Oilers and the Philadelphia Flyers, to date, the 2 best teams in the National Hockey League. You'll see it next, right here live on ESPN.
No battery has the energy to outrun the Energizer, even in a toy robot. no battery outruns the Energizer.
Introducing the G-Shock 5200 watch from Casio. The sports watch that's ready for action with a built-in shock absorber. It's tough, so tough, this G-Shock can take a slap in the face and not even flinch. The G-Shock 5200, just one of Casio's water-resistant sports watches. It's one tough watch to beat.
For sports excitement in January, ESPN has the hottest ticket every night. The greatest live college basketball schedule on television features top-ranked Indiana and Big East power Georgetown, plus highlights of the most memorable NCAA Final Fours. Stars and Stripes and USA must stop New Zealand's domination in ESPN's exclusive live coverage of the America's Cup Challenger Finals. January heats up with college football's All-Star Game, the Ricoh Japan Bowl, and a SportsCenter Super Bowl special. A red-hot NHL hockey slate delivers the top teams with Stanley Cup dreams. And there's a warm blast of World Cup skiing competition. The PGA Tour tees off with live coverage of the Phoenix Open and the return of the weekly Inside the PGA Tour. Plus, see the world's best tennis players in the finals of the Australian Open live. The major indoor soccer season ignites, and the sparks fly in top-ranked boxing. Every night, your ticket to hot winter sports in January is ESPN.
The NHL tonight is being brought to you by Budweiser, Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. And by Volvo, a car that you can believe in. And welcome back to our NHL Tonight studios. I'm Tom Mees. I'll be here between periods. Among other things we'll be doing tonight, we'll be taking a look at the new Iron Man in the National Hockey League, Doug Jarvis, who broke Gary Unger's record last Friday night in Hartford, Connecticut, as he now plays for the Hartford Whalers. He did it against the team he came up with many, many years ago, the Montreal Canadiens. And you know something? Doug Jarvis has never missed a game in his NHL career, and every time he puts on the skates now for Hartford, he'll be setting a new Iron Man standard to shoot at. We'll have a report on that a little bit later on. From Buffalo, in the first period, a goal by John Tonelli for the Calgary Flames has given the Flames a 1-0 lead. Tonelli from Bradley and Al McInnes. So in the first period at the odd at Buffalo, late in the first period, I might add, Calgary leads it by a score of 1-0. The game between Winnipeg and Minnesota is just getting set to start at the Winnipeg Arena. And later on tonight, it'll be the Washington Capitals taking on the Chicago Blackhawks in that ever-tightening Norris division, where Chicago right now is in last place, but they are only 3 points out of first place. So that is the tightest and most competitive division in the National Hockey League to date. No doubt about that. So settle back and enjoy great National Hockey League action as the Philadelphia Flyers are set to go against Wayne Gretzky, Yari Curry and company, and the Edmonton Oilers. Edmonton coming off a loss to Winnipeg in their last home game. Philadelphia coming off a loss just last night at Vancouver, 4-2. Both teams have something to prove. Let's go live to Edmonton. Ken Wilson and Bill Clement. Gentlemen.
All right, Tom Mees, as you would expect, and as usually the case here in Edmonton, a jam-packed house, and they are ready for hockey, albeit they may be a bit quiet during the course of the evening.
They are a little quieter than certain fans, but Ron Hextall might give them something to be noisy about tonight. He is the leading candidate at present for the Calder Trophy, which is the trophy awarded to the top rookie in the NHL, Grant Fuhr at the other end. I mentioned in our open, Ken, that he doesn't get the recognition because his statistics aren't that great. You got to remember, the Oilers play wide open, so he faces more quality scoring chances than most goalies in the NHL.
Referee Ron Fournier is ready to drop the puck between Mark Messier of the Oilers and Ron Sutter of the Flyers. And this one is underway. Final meeting of the campaign between the two best teams in the NHL, and Messier back for the puck. He looks for Glenn Anderson along the boards. The pass too far. Hospodar, a high drive for Philadelphia. The puck hits the linesman, Randy Mitten, and played by the Oilers. Out of the reach of McClellan, and here is Mark Howe, and it is an icing call against Edmonton.
Boy, off that faceoff, Ken, Ron Sutter leveled Kevin Lowe. Now, Kevin Lowe didn't play the last game we did here, which was also the Oilers' last game. Paul Coffey just came back from an injury then. This is going to be a tester for those injuries tonight against the Flyers. There's a look at the Flyers bench. Mike Keenan without the headset, Paul Holmgren with the headset. What an intense guy. Really hates losing, you know, but he's recovered and Had a nice chat with him this morning. He said the toughest time for me is between the time I go into the locker room an hour to an hour and a half before the game. That's when I turn it over to the players, and I just hope the leaders come through and get ready to play. But against the Oilers, they shouldn't have that much trouble preparing. It's against the lesser lights that they have trouble preparing.
Ron Sutter facing off for Philadelphia. He has Craven on his left, Tuckett on his right, Howe at the left point, and the big defenseman Samuelson is at the right point. And in the circle is Kevin McClellan for Edmonton. Randy Mitten waiting to drop the puck. He does, and it's Mark Howe with a shot that goes wide. Glenn Anderson knocked down by Tuckett. Samuelson keeping the puck in, and there'll be a penalty as Lowe took a run at Samuelson, and there'll be an elbowing penalty called here. 33 seconds, that's all it's gone by in Edmonton, and there's no score.
Every day, 350 tons of paper.
Suddenly, that great idea strikes. What to do? What to do? Well, with 24-hour telephone dictation services of Administrative Specialties, you'll know what to do. Just pick up the phone and call Administrative Specialties at 562-0215 and dictate away. Call Administrative Specialties at 562-0215 for reports, typing, resumes, and mailings, plus pickup and delivery services. Call now Administrative Specialties, 562-0215.
Get acquainted with the Gourmet's Delight, Dearborn specialty food and catering shop featuring incredible edibles for all occasions. Rich torte cakes, specialty pastries, unusual cheesecakes, fruit sculptures, cookies galore, and much, much more. Have a special lunch this week. Fantastic homemade soup with a mile-high deli sandwich. For that very special person you really care about this Christmas, the Gourmet's Delight has unique gift baskets that are truly an Epicurean's fantasy. Party time, snack time, lunchtime, or special occasion, visit Gourmet's Delight on Schaefer between Michigan and Ford Road.
Ken, I suspect Kevin Lowe might have had a little too much adrenaline. He was off for 9 days. Now he's off for 2 minutes. Let's see if the Flyers' power play can get them on the board.
33-second mark. Here's Crossman. He shoots and scores. Doug Crossman. And the Flyers get a power play goal. It takes them only 3 seconds.
Boy, that didn't take long. I'll tell you, it went right between Grant Fuhr's legs. Now, nobody is out there. You can see on the left of your screen there are 2 Oilers, and one of them is a forward standing back in there. Look at 3 forwards back in tight against Grant Fuhr. Nobody back in Crossman. He has far too much time to let the shot go. Right between Grant Fuhr's legs. Tough spot to try and defend against. He came out and cut down the angle, but boy, they kind of let Crossman have a free shot there, Ken. Nobody went out and took him on that one.
That is the 3rd goal of the season for the veteran Doug Crossman. Coming on the power play, the Flyers 12th on the power play in the NHL.
Let's not forget, the Oilers are very, very aware, as Wayne Gretzky pointed out, that the Flyers are the best team in the NHL when they have the lead. They have it now. Let's see what they can do.
Here is Glenn Anderson to Mark Messier with Kevin McClellan. McClellan's backhand shot high. Messier. Smith moved in quickly, and it's Tuckett to Craven. Trying to get it back to Tuckett. It goes to Ron Sutter. Quick shot. And he fans on the rebound after the Fuhrer save. Edmonton looks like that goal has not pleased them a single bit. McClellan over the blue line. He can't get around Howe. Then Messier bumps Sutter. And there'll be a penalty coming up here. Another elbowing penalty. So plenty of furious action in the first 1 minute and 14 seconds. Flyers lead it on a goal by Doug Crossman, 1-0.
The Volvo 760, the car for people whose means have changed, but whose values haven't.
These teams might be a little tight because of the importance of the game, Ken, and thus far it's the Oilers, to me, that are really showing the tightness. They're shorthanded again. McClellan had no reason to get his elbow up deep in the Flyers zone, but he did. Now he sits for 2 minutes. Here go the Flyers again on a power play.
1:14, the time of the second Edmonton penalty. Eklund goes down. He takes Lowe with him, and the Flyers will regroup at center ice. Kerr picking up the assist on Crossman's power play goal at 36 seconds here in the first period. Marcow to Doug Crossman. Crossman, the ex-Chicago Blackhawk, has problems, and the puck is cleared out to center ice by Edmonton. One of the things coming in to this game to note was the fact that neither team had been successful, Flyers offside, on the power play against the other team. But, well, maybe that's all to be thrown out the window.
I'll tell you, things can change around, Ken, in this game so quickly. As Glenn Sather will attest, we're looking at the back of Glenn Sather. He came into the game last Tuesday against Winnipeg with a 7-game undefeated streak, and that was snapped by the Winnipeg Jets. But you never know on any given night. It's an 80-game schedule. You're dealing with 19, 20 different personalities on your team, and it's impossible to prepare mentally the same each game. As Mike Keenan pointed out, you just have to hope that the leaders take over.
Philadelphia leads 1-0. A minute 10 to go, and the penalty to Edmonton. They're killing the penalty with Gretzky and Curry up front. And Bukaboom and Coffey on the defense. Bukaboom breaks up the play, then poke checks Crossman. Kjell Samuelsson, recently obtained from the Rangers, to Crossman. They're the point men. Zezel can't reach the pass, and Coffey breaks it up. Poulin is at center with Kerr on the left, Zezel on the right on the Flyers power play. 2.5 minutes have gone by here at the Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton. The NHL's top two teams, the Flyers, Samuelsson, and again it's offside Philadelphia. Well, plenty of other action tonight. Let's check in with Tom Mees.
Okay, Ken. Meanwhile, in Winnipeg, the Jets and North Stars, Minnesota's Neil Broughton. A nice pass from Kent Nilsson right in front. Broughton, number 7, puts the North Stars on top, 1-0 in Winnipeg. Let's go back to Edmonton and Ken Wilson.
Thank you, Tom Mees. Bill Clement, a real opportunity for the Flyers to do what they did in the game at the Spectrum December 7th. Jump out to an early first period lead.
Yeah, they're great with a 1-goal lead. They're even better with a 2-goal lead.
Philadelphia would like to play certainly a much tighter, closer checking game than Edmonton, especially in this building.
Yeah, I think the Flyers would prefer to keep the play along the boards, whereas Edmonton's skilled players would much rather play it in the middle of the ice. So the Flyers will try and take away the middle of the ice from Edmonton.
Kerr tries to center, is unable to. 15 seconds left in the Flyers power play, and the puck cleared the length of the ice by Steve Smith. Keep in mind, Hextall, the goalie, can really handle the puck, probably better than any netminder in the league. Marcow, very offensive-minded. Now looking for Eklund and/or Kerr. Crossman moves in front, and the defense, Smith, breaking up the play. McClellan is back on the ice. He can't accept the pass. Murray Craven touches the puck, and it's an icing call against the Edmonton Oilers. The Flyers lead 1-0.
The sports stars of tomorrow are doing their best today in America's high schools. Every Saturday, ESPN Scholastic Sports America looks at the record setters, the scholar athletes, the outstanding teams, players, and coaches. It's the one and only weekly program featuring high school athletes from all across the country doing their best. Join Chris Fowler every Saturday at 6:30 Eastern for Scholastic Sports America on ESPN.
In Buffalo, the Sabres have tied up Calgary on a goal by Anderson from Clayton and Cloutier. So it's 1-1. Calgary and Buffalo in the first. Back to Edmonton and Ken Wilson.
Where the Flyers lead 1-0 on Crossman's power play goal 36 minutes into the game. Samuelsson shot deflects wide, and the great one, Wayne Gretzky breaking out. Jari Kurri in front of him, trying to bank the puck to Kurri. He's tied up by Tocchet. The crowd finally comes alive. They thought Ron Fournier, the referee, should have called a penalty on Tocchet as Marsh is knocked down. Kevin Lowe leaves the puck, and it's Craig Munich, who's had a sensational first year here in Edmonton. His pass too far, Samuelsson back, along with Marsh to touch the puck, and an icing call against the Edmonton Oilers.
Well, the Oilers are trying to get rid of some of that adrenaline now, Ken, deep in the Flyers zone. And, you know, as we look at Brad Marsh, I saw Wayne Gretzky get do something that you hardly ever see him do, and I think they might have finally learned from that Winnipeg game. Wayne Gretzky dumped the puck in when he had a man going. Perhaps they understand that the Flyers, even better than Winnipeg did, can jam up that blue line. And if the Edmonton Oilers insist on trying to carry the puck across the line all night long, Edmonton's going to stop them cold. That's one of the guys that can do it. Number 8, Brad Marsh for the Flames. Ex-teammate of mine with the Flames.
Budweiser keeping the action going here in Edmonton. The other thing to keep in mind Of course, here's Samuelson. Tikkanen, I think, wanted to go right through the boards. Is that Hextall can handle the puck. If the Oilers do what the coaches want them to do, throw the puck in more often, it gets negated a bit against Ron Hextall.
Well, they can't shoot it in around the boards. What they have to do is angle it in straight on the backboard so that it comes out, and that puts Hextall in a tough position. Do I go out or do I stay in?
Glenn Anderson, a shot deflects high. And that stops play as that action continues with Budweiser, giving you, as always, that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for all you do. Ken Wilson, Bill Clement, Tom Mees, Glenn Anderson, one of the better players in the NHL.
Yeah, they could use a big effort from Anderson. He really has had kind of an off season for Glenn Anderson's standards. They had so many players with fabulous seasons last year. He's kind of a sleeper, you know. You mess with him a little bit on the ice, and before you know it, you're lying flat on your back. He's kind of silent and ruthless all at the same time.
Puck shot out by Philadelphia, but Coffey covers up. He's on defense with Bukabu. Up front, Messier between McClellan and Anderson. McClellan's pass off Anderson's skate. Here's Scott Mellenby, a rookie. He and McClellan bump around, and it's Peter Zezel, the man with the biggest thighs in the NHL. He looks like an NFL running back with those legs. Flyers out of their own zone and not having an easy time built in the middle of the ring. Hextall, look at this. Oh, another penalty coming up. There's a penalty coming up against Philadelphia. McClellan stopped by Hextall. And now an opportunity on the power play for Edmonton. The NHL tonight at the Northlands Coliseum. Philadelphia up 1-0.
The 1946 MG. The 1957 Thunderbird. The 1987 Volvo 740 Turbo. A collector's item you can drive every day.
The Flyers' latest acquisition, Shell Samuelson, all 6 feet 6 inches of him, Ken, is going off for the Flyers. Boy, we talked when we were away on a break. Ron Fournier is not letting anything go. We didn't even see that. In a lot of games, that might not have been a penalty, but I think you can sense that there is possible sparks that could ignite in this game, and he wants to keep a real tight rein on things early.
In case you were wondering, that was a hook. A hooking penalty at 4:43 of the first period. Messier gains the faceoff. Gretzky in front, and Messier unable to turn the puck on goal. Poulin trying to get it out, and he's able to. Poulin and Zezel up front, killing the penalty in front of Ron Hextall. Howe on one point, or really on defense with Brad McCrimmon, and the Flyers are at least initially bottling up Edmonton's power play.
Be interesting to see if the Oilers look any more organized tonight, Ken, than they did on Tuesday against Winnipeg, their last game. They really seemed to lack confidence, and it showed in the form of disorganization out there.
Edmonton trailing 1-0 on their home ice. They have the man advantage. Coffey's shot hits a leg, and it's Poulin. 2-on-1 with Howe. Bukaboom back, and off the skate of Howe, and it's back the other way. Tikkanen at the blue line, and it's offside on the feed from Paul Coffey. Well, this NHL action is hot and heavy, and the NHL tonight continues its season-long coverage with New Jersey meeting the Flyers in Philadelphia on Tuesday, the 6th of January. That'll be a 7:30 start Eastern Time. It'll be the New Jersey Devils and the Philadelphia Flyers. Our next action here on ESPN Tuesday night, January the 6th. And 1 week after that, we'll be on Long Island, and the New York Islanders will be hosting Mario Lemieux and the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Ken, did you see that last play on the power play? Asa Tikkanen forcing the play at the Flyers' blue line. Paul Coffey trying to make a low percentage pass when they had a 4-on-2. That's what I was talking about. They're a little tight, they're a little disorganized, and they're trying to execute plays that they normally wouldn't if they were real confident on their power play.
There have actually, in the first 5.5 minutes tonight, been only 3 shots on goal. One by Edmonton, and one of the 2 Flyer shots through the legs of Grant Fuhr. Crossman's goal in the first minute of play coming on the power play. This is Tikkanen, just back from injury. Tikkanen, the 21-year-old Finn, can't make the final move around March. Here's Jari Kurri. Great Gretzky, Wayne Gretzky, trying to get around Crossman. Kurri back to Gretzky. In front, Greg Fanning. Smith keeping the puck in. 40 seconds left in the man advantage for the Oilers as Ron Sutter takes over. He has Murray Craven well in front of him, and he can't get much on the backhand pass. Tikkanen for Edmonton. On with Huddy, Smith, Curry with a puck, and Gretzky on the power play. Tikkanen held down by Craven behind the play. Setting up over to Smith. Behind the net for Gretzky, and there's Hextall with a demonstrative slash at the puck. Gretzky to Smith. Steve Smith trying to get it through to Messier. And Poulin attempting to clear Kent. 5 seconds, and Samuelson will be back on for Philadelphia. Here's Gretzky. Back at full strength for the Flyers. Curry gives the puck to Messier, back to Curry, and it's stopped by Murray Craven, and he shoots the puck the length of the ice, and this will be icing against Philadelphia. Now they're going to wave it off. And Smith moves up ice with a feed to Gretzky off his stick. Here's Brad McCrimmon. He and Howe on defense, and they really team up well together. Carson shoots the puck in. Pure stopping it. Stan Kulak's bumped, and the Flyers control, and they'll play the puck in their own zone. Philadelphia leads it 1-0. Here's a chance for Rose to fly. Going for that lower corner.
You always run the risk when you're as aggressive a goaltender as Ron Hextall is. When you pass the puck the way he did, you always run the risk, Ken, of getting caught. And he just about got caught that time trying to pass the puck when he shouldn't have.
Nearly a big hit on Carson. Edmonton back, too far for Napier. What does Hextall like to play the puck? Napier to low. He's stopped. McCrimmon banking the puck to center ice. Bukaboom for Edmonton. Over to Mark Napier, the veteran. And behind McTavish, the puck goes over to Tim Kerr, the 31 goal scorer. Zezel trying to get the puck back to Kerr, and here's the ex-Bruin McTavish playing it up on the wing to McSorley, and it's Marsh at center ice shooting it in. 8:10 has gone by in the first period here in Edmonton. It's 1-0 Philadelphia. They're trying to sweep the Oilers in the regular season. Coffey shoots, and that couldn't have missed by more than 2 or 3 inches. Peter Zezel 2-on-1. McSorley a forward back. The shot by Mellanby, and a good save by Grant Fuhr. Puck takes an unusual hop. Comes off to Dave Hunter. He has to avoid a check. Shoots the puck in. Marsh to play it. And it'll be Randy Gregg at his own zone for Edmonton. Tikkanen deflects the puck in. Look at Hextall wander. And clears the puck. Look at that.
He loves to shoot that puck. He has a great desire to score a goal in this league. He's bound he's going to score one. And some night when the Flyers have a 2-goal lead, he's going to try it.
Esa Tikkanen is flying tonight. Carson back.
Of course, I'm talking about when the team pulls their goalie to try and get back in the game late. He's going to shoot at that open net.
Jari Kurri unable to get the puck in front. And McCrimmon clears the zone. I'll tell you, as sharply as he can shoot the puck, I'm not sure he can't score on a weird hop with a goalie in the net.
Perhaps he can clear the glass at one end standing at his own blue line.
Smith breaks up the play. Ahead to Tikkanen with Gretzky and Curry. Oh, a big check by Brown on Tikkanen. And that'll slow the Finn down in a hurry. This is Dave Brown. He's an enforcer for Philadelphia. And Tikkanen comes back to check in.
I tell you, Tikkanen took a strike and knocked Dave Brown's helmet off. Surprising. People from Finland don't play that way in the NHL, especially when it's Dave Brown.
Gretzky moves in front. And the shot by Tikkanen. And that's knocked down on Lowe's feed. It's end-to-end action. The Flyers with 52 points, the Oilers with 46. Two teams that could well meet in the Stanley Cup Finals. Fuhr plays the puck to Glenn Anderson. He's in trouble. 3 Flyers all over Anderson, and Lowe helps out. Curry looking for Messier. And that's broken up nicely. There'll be no icing here. Lowe could have played the puck in the neutral zone, and now they say no, Lowe couldn't have. And that's just the linesman's judgment. It's Philadelphia 1, Edmonton no score.
You'd no more settle for a flake in your hair than a spot on your tie. You passed the test, you could grooming, has the look of success. Your head and shoulders above the rest. One flake can mean dandruff.
Regular shampoos may rinse flakes, but Head & Shoulders protection goes to the source to help stop flakes.
And that's doing it right.
Your Head and Shoulders above the rest.
Well, we talked about the feisty play of Asa Tikin, and that's uncharacteristic not only of Europeans, even more so the Finnish players. Czechoslovakians play a little tougher in the World Tournament. It's a tough place to get hit, Ken. You see that bar right there? When a guy rides you into it, you're at his mercy. And here's where Brown comes back. Tikkanen takes a piece of a look, and he swats his helmet right off his head. That's 5'10", facing 6'4" to 6'5" of Dave Brown.
Back to live action. Zezel taken out by Muni. And Messier throws his weight against Mellanby, who ends up with a puck. And McClellan checks Mellanby. And the Oilers break out. Anderson, the former Denver University player. This is Ed Hospodar. Up to Peter Zezel. He's stopped. Bukaboom playing the puck into the corner where Crossman controls. He has the only goal. Less than 9 minutes remaining in this first period. Zezel through to Smith. He shoots. He scores on the rebound. Derek Smith. And it is 2-0 Philadelphia.
Boy, that will quiet people down here. The Oilers all get bogged down at the blue line. You can see right in the middle of your screen Anderson coming back. I believe it might have been Mellanby that actually executed the goal. Messier is trying to catch Derek Smith. There's Glenn Anderson, but nevertheless, they're behind their checks. Messier was guilty of that the other night against Winnipeg.
They're going to give the goal to Derek Smith, the youngster in his third season in the NHL. That is his 8th goal of the year. It's 2-0 Philadelphia. They won the first 2 meetings of the season between these two teams at the Spectrum. Zezel and Crossman assisting at 11:09 here in the opening period. This Philadelphia team on their home ice, 14 wins, 2 ties, only 3 defeats, losing their last game to Winnipeg 2-1 here on ESPN. First shot rejected. Here's Pele Eklund, a very skilled player for Philadelphia, with Napier chasing him and hitting him. But Eklund doing good work with his feet. May have been a soccer player. Stan Kulak, the ex-Canuck, clearing the puck the length of the ice. It'll be icing if McCrimmon gets back first. He does. And play stopped with 8:02 remaining in the period. Let's go to Tom Meaves.
Ken, in Winnipeg, the Gents have stormed back to take the lead. Look at this one by number 10, Dale Howard-Chuck in the white. Great individual effort, has the puck, and winds up and scores. He had to fight off a defenseman at the blue line, then had to get the puck again, and Don Beaupre says, hey, where is the defense? Not on that play. Winnipeg has taken the lead. Marois got the other goal. They lead Minnesota 2-1. Back to Edmonton, where the Flyers are on top. Ken?
Bill Clement, a very impressive start for the very well-coached, well-organized Flyers.
And the Oilers know it too, Ken. I went down there and talked to a lot of them after the Winnipeg game. I said, what about Philadelphia? They said, Philadelphia, not only do we have to get ahead of them, but they play the most disciplined style of hockey, and that's exactly what we're seeing here tonight. The Flyers are playing with as much intensity as the Oilers. The Oilers are ready to play, but it seems disjointed on the Oilers side. They look as if they're playing like individuals. The Flyers, on the other hand, disciplined teamwork. That's the best term to describe Philadelphia, disciplined teamwork.
And that clearly goes back to third-year coach Mike Keenan, coaching the Flyers to 53 wins in each of his first 2 seasons. They have 25 wins currently, short of the halfway mark. The earliest in the season Philadelphia has ever had, 25 victories. McTavish intercepts Marsh's pass. The backhand shot. Hextall is saved. Murray Craven. He's on with Sutter and Tocchet up front. McSorley. Marsh for Philadelphia. Team with Samuelson on defense. Huddy doing a good, or I should say Gregg doing a good job keeping the puck in. McTavish from McSorley. Marsh trying to hold McTavish. He can't. And it's Dave Hunter, one of the 3 hunters in the NHL. Behind the net to McTavish, and Hextall is there. Boy, the way he wields that big stick, you're an opponent, you're going to be a little tentative behind the net.
Even if he's not aiming for you, he's got a good chance of hitting you.
Puck goes into the crowd. It's Philadelphia 2, Edmonton 0.
Moving into the slot, shooting, he scores! Hits the goal post! Great save! Going in on a break. Scores! Here's another breakaway. Scores!
Shooting at a quick save. He winds a drive. A save, a shot, there goes! Oh, and a check shot scores!
Feel the thunder.
Tuesday, Big Ten Power meets West Coast Finesse in the SeaWorld Holiday Bowl. The WAC Conference champion San Diego State offense runs up against the reckless reputation of the Iowa Hawkeyes. ESPN's college football season finale, the Holiday Bowl, live Tuesday night.
Rendezvous 87. Two big games between the NHL All-Stars and the best from Russia, February 11th and 13th in Quebec City. And we'll be there, the NHL Tonight, ESPN. Jari Kurri scuffs it off the heel of his stick. Mellanby out to Smith, to Zezel. Nice poke check by Kevin Lowe. And the pass just out of the reach of Gretzky. Tikkanen, nice shot, and Hextall a save. Gretzky trying to control the puck, and here's Derek Smith. Over to Mellanby, he's hit by Lowe. The big check, and the glasses come out. And Ron Fournier will stop play with 6:42 to go in the opening period, and the Flyers leading 2-0. Bill Clement, I know we're looking forward to Rendezvous 87. My wife has had all the credit cards. She has 3 suitcases ready to go up to Quebec and enjoy the beauty and wonders.
I'll tell you, it's a wonderful time. This is not a wonderful time when you're against the boards and someone levels you. That's Kevin Lowe back from his 9 days off. That's why we're stopped here. But Quebec City in carnival time, it's kind of a winter atmosphere Mardi Gras. I lived in Quebec, played my first year of pro hockey there in the minor leagues, and it's a fabulous town, and they're really doing it up right this year.
I am looking forward to seeing the Russians after all the years following hockey. I have yet to see the Russians in person. And the idea of the All-Star game being the best of the NHL, the best 20 players or so from the 21 teams, that should be a marvelous squad.
Yeah, and it's difficult to predict what will happen. I think we know the Russians better than we do the Canadians and Americans, the NHL team, in the sense that we don't know who's going to be on that team yet. We know that guy's going to be on it, number 99. Perhaps Kevin Lowe will be there too, but it's still up in the air as to who's going to be representing the National Hockey League.
2 games, both of them here on the NHL Tonight, ESPN. Look forward to it, February 11th and February 13th from the Coliseum in Quebec City. The glass is back, and the Flyers with the lead and the puck in the first period. Tikkanen for Edmonton, over to Kurri, playing with Gretzky. Muni to Kurri. The other defenseman is Kevin Lowe. Here's Jari Kurri, and that's gloved by Hextall. Shot blocked, and it's Muni. Lowe intercepting. Crossman to Carson, and that'll end the play for Philadelphia, and Gretzky looking to wind up. Less than 6 minutes to go in this first period. Kurri trying to get the puck through to Gretzky, and he can't. Philadelphia can play the most tremendous defense you'll ever see in hockey, and you just see it happening right here. Crossman, checked by Gretzky. Flyers lead it 2-0. Brown clears the puck out. Tikkanen. Whoa, and a big glove save by Hextall. And Tikkanen really showing a lot of fire tonight. He's bouncing around like he's an aggressive, fiery type player.
Look at him. He has tons of play tonight. Might be the spark the Oilers need to get back in it. But Ron Hextall talked about his great athletic ability. Watch the glove hand on this one. Look at Gretzky. Now, he doesn't even touch the puck because he sees Tikkanen coming with better speed than him. What a smart play. Gretzky might have played it. Look at that glove save. I thought instantly that it might have gone right in his glove, but Hextall, see Brad Marsh get the stick up on Asa Tikkanen, and I'll tell you, that's you have to do that. Asa Tikkanen comes driving to the net. It puts the defense in a heck of a tough position. That's something that can help the Oilers when a guy like Tikkanen drives to the net. All the coaches know you follow that rebound or drive to the net, you'll score. If you don't score, you might be able to draw a penalty. So they did come out of that with some results.
14:40, the time of the high sticking penalty to Brad Marsh. The Flyers 0 for 1, or the Oilers rather. The Oilers 0 for 1 on the power play tonight, and this season. In 3 games against Philadelphia, Edmonton is 1 for 10 on the power play. Jari Kurri had a goal here on ESPN in the season opener. Gretzky trying to set up Anderson, and Zezel unable to clear. Coffey. Messier. Anderson. Smith's at the right point. Gretzky behind the net. Puck hops high in the air. Comes down to Zezel with Poulin. Here's Dave Poulin, the Notre Dame product. Ooh, and he's drilled by Smith. Peter Zezel to Mark Howe. 1:22 to go in the Philadelphia penalty to Brad Marsh. 4:40 to go in the first period, and Philadelphia leads 2-0 on Doug Crossman and Derek Smith goals against Grant Fuhr. Edmonton, 6th best power play in the league. Philadelphia, 6th best penalty killing in the league. Both of these teams, as a side note, score a lot of short-handed goals. Both teams. Randy Gregg, straight away. Coffey looking for the screen and the deflection, and Messier unable to make the deflection. And we'll check other games with Tom Mees.
Well, Ken, just a few moments ago, the Washington Capitals and Chicago Blackhawks got things underway. You see the Flyers goaltender Ron Hextall in Edmonton during the brief timeout. The Capitals and the Blackhawks are underway. Two teams in last place, but two teams only a win or two away from getting up at least to the middle of their division. No score in that game. Let's go back to Edmonton, where the Flyers lead it 2-0. Here again is Ken Wilson.
All right, Tom Mees. Good first period, and I think Edmonton has to be a bit stunned.
I think they're making it easier for the Flyers, too, Ken, especially on the power play. Philadelphia goes into the traditional box. Two guys back, two guys at the top. Edmonton defensemen are sagging in closer to them. My idea is spread them out. Get them into the position where you can make a quick 2-on-1 on somebody. But when they move in tight, Philadelphia can check them very easily.
Coffey, Curry, and he fans. That's a good observation, Bill. I was noticing that same thing.
That time they spread them out and they got an instant scoring chance. Make that long pass and spread them out instead of everybody sagging in and converging on Philadelphia's box.
Brad Marsh will be back in 21 seconds. Coffey overskates the puck, and it's Howe clearing it away. Jari Kurri. 8 seconds in the power play. Paul Coffey. Hextall. Look at that. Now Marsh back on.
There it is, Air Hextall, all the way out of the zone in the air. That landed on the other side of center.
It's offside as Gretzky takes the pass. There's 3:11 to go in the first period here on the NHL tonight at the Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton.
You know, Ken, the teams that are best suited to beat the Oilers, too, are the teams that are sound defensively. The Oilers are most vulnerable when they don't have the puck. They realize that, so when you can control it, play sound defensive game, you really got a shot at beating them. Flyers are the best team at doing that in the National Hockey League. Calgary's pretty decent at it, too. They have not beaten the Calgary Flames or the Philadelphia Flyers in their last 6 games.
During our first intermission, Tom Mees will be along. And we hope you'll stay tuned for that. Here it is 2-0 Philadelphia. McTavish facing off for the Oilers in front of Fuhr, and he wins the draw. Here's Mark Messier. Samuelson breaks up the play. Kevin Lowe. Whoa, and a big hit on McSorley. McSorley was really drilled by Stanley. Marsh. Up for Carson. He's stopped, and Darryl Stanley clears the zone. Philadelphia leading 2-0. They are sitting out J.J. Daigneault, a young defenseman tonight, and of course without Brian Propp and Elka Sinisalo, 2 of their big scorers, both out with injuries. Dave Hunter throws his weight around as he checks Samuelson. Brad Marsh for the Flyers. It's Derek Smith, but gets the puck ahead to Brown with Lindsey Carson. 2:10 to go in the first period. Both teams are changing players. Artie McSorley shooting the puck in. Mark Napier, checked by Paley Eklund. Gathering in the puck, Derek Smith. He has one of the 2 goals. Crossman has the other. There's less than 2 minutes to go in the opening period. Krushelnyski to Napier with Kulak. And Hospodar breaks that play up with a nice shot block. Now Boom. Hextall turns the bad angle shot away. Tim Kerr with Doug Crossman. And Boom lines up Kerr. Of course, Doug Jarvis, the veteran, breaking the record, 915 straight games. There'll be a feature on the Iron Man of the NHL with Tom Mees during our first intermission. So stay with us. Kulak one-hands the puck in front. And Hextall got a little careless, tried to move it when he should have just grabbed it, I think, initially.
Yeah, he did, Ken. He tried to flip it away with his stick, flipped it right in front.
Well, also coming up here on ESPN, college football, of course, it's bowl time, and the SeaWorld Holiday Bowl featuring Iowa, the Big Ten, San Diego State of the WAC. That'll be Tuesday night, December the 30th. Right here on ESPN, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific. Two teams with identical 8-3 records, and as you know, very similar offensive attacks. The Iowa Hawkeyes and San Diego State Aztecs in the SeaWorld Holiday Bowl Tuesday night here on ESPN. We have it all here tonight. The NHL's top 2 teams, the league's best player, Wayne Gretzky, 3 of the top 5 scorers, Gretzky, Messier, and Kerr. The league's top 2 defensemen and the league's top 2 goaltenders. And it's 2-0. Philadelphia, and Smith drills it wide. Randy Gregg. Howe intercepts. He is one of the top 2 defensemen with Coffey. Here's Ron Sutter, the fake. He shoots and scores. Ron Sutter makes it 3-0, Philadelphia.
Boy, it's tough to get scored on any time, Ken. 56 seconds to go. This will take a hop behind Steve Smith. Lower right of your screen, number 5. Misplays the puck. He plays the man, which is correct, but somebody else has missed their assignment, and Ron Sutter beats everybody to the puck and just slips it between Grant Fuhr's legs. Second, third, how many times tonight, Ken, have the Flyers gotten in behind Edmonton on seemingly innocent plays? That's when you have to be tough. It's one thing to play aggressively when you have the puck. Edmonton's most vulnerable when they don't have the puck.
Fuhr intercepting Rick Tocchet. Then Yari Curry steals the puck from him, and Craig Muni will play it. Only 41 seconds to go in the first period. 3-0 Philadelphia. They have 3 goals on only half a dozen shots. And the freewheeling Oilers, usually freewheeling, have been held to only 5 shots by Philadelphia's superb defense. Ron Sutter from Poulin and Howe at 19:04 after Derek Smith scored from Zezel and Crossman, and Crossman scored a power play goal with Kerr assisting at the 36-second mark. The crowd congratulating Fuhr for making a save. 8 seconds to go. Here's Peter Zezel. His shot, the save. 2 seconds. And you've got to keep in mind, as this first period ends, Grant Fuhr, Bill, is coming off a game, an 8-8 tie with L.A. He certainly didn't have a tremendous outing in that one.
No, he didn't, and it's doubtful. It's difficult to say whether he had a good period or a bad period. Those goals between the legs, they're very difficult to defend against. Flyers obviously know that. Flyers, to me, Ken, we're looking at the best team in hockey tonight in the Philadelphia Flyers.
Tom Mees is coming up. Stay tuned for that on the NHL tonight after 20 minutes. The Philadelphia Flyers 3, the Edmonton Oilers no score.
Remember when we first met, waiting for the girls in the rain? You offered to share your umbrella.
We British always have our umbrellas, Kathy.
And now we're moving back.
Is America very far from here?
Honey, I'm afraid it is.
Saying goodbye is never easy, but with AT&T International Long Distance, it's easy to say hello, because a 10-minute call to the UK can average just 64 cents a minute. Only AT&T keeps you this close anywhere in the world.
Welcome back to the NHL tonight. I'm Tom Mees with an edition of the Bud Light Hockey News. The Washington Capitals top scorer Mike Gartner, who is out of tonight's game in Chicago with a chipped bone in his right elbow, will be reevaluated on Monday to determine whether surgery will be needed. Now, the injury occurred in a Washington victory over the St. Louis Blues back on December 20th. It got worse over the holidays, so Mike Gartner not in the game for the Capitals tonight. But Scott Stevens, number 3, their big defenseman is, and Stevens has just put the Caps ahead in this game against the Chicago Blackhawks. He winds up with a blast, that beats Bob Sauvé. You got to figure either the puck dipped or it was just a bad goal by the Chicago netminder. Whatever. Duchesne with the assist. Scott Stevens scores the goal. Washington leads it 2-1 in the first period of play, and there endeth the Bud Light hockey news for tonight. After 1 in Edmonton, the Flyers all over the Oilers 3-0. Let's see if things will change. Let's go back to Ken Wilson. Ken?
Tom Mees, certainly one thing will change. It would appear that Andy Moog is going to take over as goalie. This is the way the scoring went. All 3 Philadelphia scores in that first period.
It was all Philadelphia. It's hard to believe the shots are 6-5, but it's really no surprise that Andy Moog is in there. I mentioned that Grant Fuhr hasn't played that poorly tonight. A couple of shots went between his legs, but in games like this, these are the big games. You have to be great when you get in there. You just can't be good. And Grant Fuhr was not great in the first period, needless to say. 3 goals on 6 shots. Andy Moog doesn't get as much recognition as a guy like Grant Fuhr does, but he is a quality goaltender. He played here and played very well against Winnipeg in spite of the 2-1 loss the other night.
Behind coach and general manager Glenn Sather, there you see Grant Fuhr, who gave up the 3 Flyer goals on 6 shots in the first period.
They really can't afford to have Grant Fuhr go into a slump at any stage of the hockey season. And you mentioned earlier, Ken, that he has not really played that well of late. A lot of pucks have been getting in behind him. He hasn't been the great Grant Fuhr that we know.
Here's Kevin Lowe as the second period begins. And Philadelphia shooting the puck in, Rick Tocchet. And Moog gets a handle on it as Muni plays the puck. Kevin McClellan to Mark Messier. And it's McClellan again, yanked down by Derek Smith. Mark Messier looking for some skating room, and that's something you rarely find against Philadelphia. Samuelson back. Hit by McClellan. Muni up from the point. McClellan. Kevin Lowe, and that hits a leg. It might have been Anderson. Then Sutter blocks the shot as Sutter takes out Anderson. And the Flyers come out of their own end, and Moog, indecisive, finally decides to go for the puck. Jari Kurri was open, but the puck goes to Philadelphia. Now Messier intercepting. 1 minute gone in the second period. The Oilers with a puck, and they trail 3-0 after losing earlier in the season at Philadelphia 2-1 and 5-2. This is the last meeting between the NHL's top 2 teams during the regular season. Blazing in on the left wing, up from the defense, Coffey, and he's saying, hey, I'm up from the defense. Where's everybody else? In front, Jari Kurri takes it. Scores! Jari Kurri.
Good body checks by the Oilers, Ken. They're really coming out flying. You don't want to give this man, number 17, Jari Kurri, a chance to shoot from there. And the risky thing here was Brad Marsh going down to block the shot. If you block the shot, it's a great play. If you miss the shot, your goalie is at the shooter's mercy because he can't see the puck coming through, especially a shot like Jari Kurri. He really knew where he was putting it.
The 18th goal of the season for Jari Kurri. That was a setup that any school child in Canada could have scored on.
Well, I'm not sure about that, but Jari Kurri can. Uncharacteristic of the Flyers to leave that area of the ice open like that, too, Ken.
Gretzky off Crossman. Jari Kurri checked by the Philadelphia player. Here's Carson. Mellanby in front for Zezel, intercepted. Kurri scoring from Gretzky and Tikkanen at 1:25 in the second period as the hometown Oilers attempt to get back in it. It's now 3-1 Philadelphia. Bukaboom up the middle to Tikkanen. And Crossman taking the errant pass. Gretzky takes an errant pass. Fails to reach Kurri. Lindsey Carson. Then Kurri knocking down Mellanby, and Coffey will take the loose puck. Both teams looking to change players. Paul Coffey. And Crossman blocks the pass attempt, and the puck covered for a face-off. Flyers 3, Oilers 1.
The NHL Tonight is being brought to you by Winchester. Load up with the legend. By Ford and your local Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? And by the Campbell Soup Company, makers of quality products for over 100 years. Things are heating up in Edmonton. Let's get right back to Ken Wilson.
Everything that you would have expected between these two teams.
Yeah. You know, Mellanby came down the wing, Ken, on that last series of plays, had a great chance to test Andy Moog. Must have been his inexperience and his youth. You really want to test a goalie early when he comes in. Let's face it, he didn't have a warm-up. He comes in cold out of the locker room and has to go between the pipes.
Edmonton basically has a taxi squad. 5 players not dressed tonight. Lee Fogelin, Charlie Huddy, both defensemen, and forwards Steve Graves, Danny Gare, and Remo Suominen. They are healthy at this point, the Edmonton team, so 5 healthy players not dressing.
Yeah, it's really a test of the togetherness of a team, too. You want to keep harmony, but let's face it, Charlie Huddy wants to play, so does Suominen. They all want to play, so they have to be very disciplined, not complain.
Dave Brown's shot stopped by Andy Moog, taking over in the second period for starter Grant Fuhr. It's 3-1. Philadelphia. McSorley shooting it in. Hextall. I wish I had a shot like that. I could never do that.
I'd still be in the lead.
There's a break in the action. In Edmonton, the Flyers on top, 3-1.
The Volvo 760, the car for people whose means have changed, but whose values haven't.
McTavish facing off with Carson of Philadelphia. McTavish on with McSorley and Hunter. It's a fourth line basically for Edmonton. Dr. Randy Gregg with a puck. Yes, he's a medical doctor. McTavish looks up for Marsh and loses the puck.
That's a big guy coming at you, 220 pounds. You know, Brad Marsh has weighed 220 pounds most of his career.
Carson shot, and he misses. Into the crowd goes the puck.
I was saying most of his career he's weighed 220 pounds. The difference in Brad Marsh now than when I played with him in Calgary and also in Atlanta, his body fat is now 11%. It was 17% when he played in Calgary, so he's really turned himself into a fine condition athlete. He competed in a triathlon, the Liberty to Liberty, the Statue of Liberty to Liberty Bell in Philadelphia. Mike Keenan, needless to say, was not apprised of that endeavor until after it happened, or he said that he wouldn't have allowed him to do it, but he doesn't want to squash that dedication, that athletic dedication that a guy like Brad Marsh has.
There's Dave Poulin. Played over in Europe. Mike Keenan saw him there. Played in Europe after a career at Notre Dame. Brought him over here, and not only has he been a good player, he's got the big C on the chest.
He is right out of the Flyers mold. He gives 105 every game, and as a true leader, that's the reason he's wearing the C. What a find for them. They really didn't have to pay anything for him. Just got him from Sweden.
Now the face-off. Krushelnyski for Edmonton. Kerr for Philadelphia. Flyers lead it 3-1, second period, at the Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton. This is the fourth time we've had the opportunity to see Great Gretzky and the Oilers here on ESPN's NHL Tonight. And that's a thrill that never seems to lessen. Napier hemmed in by Eklund and Howe. Kerr comes in, yanks down the Oiler, Krushelnyski, and there's no penalty. And Craig Muni will go back. Coming up to the 4-minute mark, second period, there'll be a penalty there as Muni was pulled down. A delayed penalty call, and now the penalty will be called against Philadelphia. It's Philadelphia 3, Edmonton
1. Good times coming.
Is your taxable income $30,000 a year or more? If so, as a Michigan taxpayer, you can now invest in Franklin's actively managed municipal bonds fund. It provides double tax-free income. Plus, every bond in the fund's portfolio is insured. Since this AAA fund invests in Michigan municipal bonds, you pay no federal or state taxes on the monthly dividends you earn. Call John Davis at 827-7180 for more complete information.
Kostoff Flowers is now Kostoff Marcus Flowers. And we understand how special your greetings, remembrances, condolences, and happy thoughts are to those you care about. Let the Kostoff Marcus Rosemobile deliver your floral gift today and let that special someone know you care. Kostoff Marcus Flowers makes it easy. Just call 563-3110 and charge it to your Visa, American Express, or MasterCard. And for your convenience, we're open Sunday from 10 to 3. Because you care enough to send flowers, Kostoff Marcus Flowers cares enough to make them perfect.
Sundance, the unbelievable American under $7,800. Everything you thought came only in an import is now born in America. Sundance, the best value of any car in its class. $550 protection plan. Plymouth Sundance, the unbelievable American under $7,800.
Born in America again.
Here is Ken Halm, one of the world's leading authorities on Chinese cooking.
You can be my guest in Hong Kong when you enter the Bay's English Muffin Recipe Contest. Win a trip for two to Hong Kong on Singapore Airlines, plus a week of cooking with me and eating in some of Hong Kong's finest restaurants. Enter a favorite recipe using Bay's English Muffins, and two of you will share the experience of a lifetime. Welcome to Hong Kong, the gateway to China.
Look for specially marked packages in your grocer's dairy case. Bay's.
Well, sometimes you can be a little too tenacious when you're in the offensive zone trying to check. Dave Poulin is guilty of a little hook here on Craig Muni. Notice where he hooked him, right on that right hip, and once you get part of a player's leg when he's trying to stride, it's difficult to stand up, and Ron Fournier wasn't far away. What a golden opportunity this is for Edmonton to get right back in it.
3:52, second period, time of the penalty. Here comes the Oilers. Messier to Gretzky. He shoots. Oh, and Hextall makes the save on number 99. Jari Kurri at the left point. Coffey's at the right point. Messier with a puck. In front of the net is Gretzky. Look at Messier. What a save by Hextall to rob Mark Messier. Now Coffey takes the puck. Off the boards, Kurri. Tikkanen's in front, Gretzky's in the corner, Messier battling Samuelson. Nice move by Tikkanen to take out Samuelson. The play just fails to develop for Edmonton. 3-on-2 break, short-handed, Philadelphia. And Zezel unable to get a good shot away. Zezel taken down, no call. Tikkanen to Gretzky. Gretzky against Howe. Over to Coffey, great chance. He goes upstairs and misses. The pass broken up by Howe as Coffey tried to set up Gretzky on the second effort.
Boy, Coffey could have done almost anything he wanted. He was all alone. I was from here. I thought he might actually try and deke on Hextall. He shot wide.
There's 48 seconds left in the Edmonton power play. They trail 3-1. McTavish against March. Napier in the corner gets the puck. Gretzky's still out there. He has amazing stamina. His pass hits Marsh. Now his shot hits Marsh. Marsh looks like a garage to Wayne Gretzky. Hextall will play the puck. That's bad news for the Oilers. And only 25 seconds to go now in Dave Poulin's penalty.
Well, when you've got a guy like Hextall out there, Ken, it's like a third defenseman. You can always count on him to get you out of a tough situation with his great shooting ability. He did it again that time.
Philadelphia with a puck. They are the team playing shorthanded for another 10 seconds. Gretzky winding up. Here he comes. He just says, guys, get in position. I'll give it to you. And he gives it to Coffey. Deflection just wide. Poulin is back on. Both teams at full strength. And the Flyers shoot the puck the length of the ice. Now it's Crossman. Intercepting for Philadelphia behind the net to Poulin. He's unable to center against Gregg. Kerr takes a hit from Krushelnyski. Edmonton not getting the opportunities they had hoped for with that man advantage. Napier, the former Canadian and North Star. There's Hextall wandering out in a dangerous spot. The pass comes finally to Craig Muni. He moves in aggressively, but he's caught, and it's 2-on-1. Philadelphia. Craven with Kerr. Kerr all alone shoots, and Andy Moe comes up. Big. Now Krushelnyski, and the save by Hextall.
Boy, he faced one of the best shooters in the league, Ken, in Kerr. Stacked the pad, slipped right over in front of him. Great save by Andy Moe.
Boy, what action. In Edmonton, the Flyers lead the Oilers 3-1.
Even after sweating it out all day at the office.
In 1923, Dearborn residents looked to Bob Ford for quality cars at affordable prices. 63 years later, Bob Ford is Fairlane Ford, and Dearborn residents still look to Fairlane for their Ford cars. Fairlane responds with 3.9% APR financing or $300 cash assistance on Ford Escorts and EXPs. That's 3.9% on Ford Escort and DXP. Annual percentage rate determined by length of finance terms. Rates vary. Ask for details. Fairlane Ford, Michigan Avenue, just east of Greenfield in the heart of Dearborn.
Get acquainted with the Gourmet's Delight, Dearborn specialty food and catering shop featuring incredible edibles for all occasions. Rich torte cakes, specialty pastries, unusual cheesecakes, fruit sculptures, cookies galore, and much, much more. Have a special lunch this week. Fantastic homemade soup with a mile-high deli sandwich. For that very special person you really care about this Christmas, the Gourmet's Delight has unique gift baskets that are truly an Epicurean's fantasy. Party time, snack time, lunchtime, or special occasion, visit Gourmet's Delight on Schaefer between Michigan and Ford Road.
Nice shot. Bad developing. I think Flamingo's got maroon. The lawn looks terrible. The old spot was always true blue, but this is ridiculous.
Next time, get your pictures developed at any store where you see this Kodak Color Watch seal for great-looking pictures. If you don't see the Color Watch seal at your store, keep on walking.
Why sit in the doldrums when you can ride the crest?
The Atlantic difference.
Get the Atlantic difference. 8% on your money market guaranteed for 2 months. Call 1-800-4-ATLANTIC and make more money with Atlantic's money market. 8% guaranteed for 2 months. Call the Atlantic coast to coast for an 8% money market. The Atlantic, member FSLIC.
Boy, the Oilers know one thing, Ken. When Wayne Gretzky gets that puck and is leading the pack down the ice like this, come late, keep skating, and you're going to get a chance. That time, Paul Coffey just kept on coming. Flyers turned it around pretty quickly and went the other way. And a nice feed to Tim Kerr. Watch Moog just lie flat across, stack his pads to the left. Right there.
That's a photographer's dream and a fan's delight to see a play like that. The sliding goaltender and a golden scoring opportunity for a premier goal scorer, Tim Kerr. He was bidding for his 32nd of the season.
He's a scoring machine. He doesn't usually end up scoring on breakaways. He's not an exceptional skater. He will get his goal from just playing positionally in front of the net and being so big and strong that guys can't fight him off. He just holds his ground.
Edmonton keeps the puck in. Kicked out by Hextall. Anderson's effort. Zezel. Gregg is back. The shot and the save by Moog. Boy, is Philadelphia aggressive. Here come the Oilers. McClellan with Messier. And out of the reach of Messier is the pass. McClellan well tied up, but the puck kept in. Smith a little out of the reach of Messier. Samuelson clearing the zone. 12 and a half minutes to go, second period. Oilers have the only goal of the period. They trailed 3-1. Scott Mellenby, the rookie. Shot! Ooh, and a quick save by Moog. That shot got there in a hurry.
I tell you, Glenn Sather looks like a genius now. Andy Moog has really come up and I think sparked to a great degree the Oilers' attack with his play on their own end.
A lot of times, just the idea of changing a goalie as an NFL coach changes a quarterback.
Yeah.
Not so much what the previous player did, but the idea of the change to spark the other tip players on the team.
That's a good analogy. The goalies in hockey to quarterbacks really is.
It's 3-1 Philadelphia. Shots are even 10 aside. Darryl Stanley for the Flyers. Too far for Carson. And Coffey will go back for the puck. Coffey on defense with Bukaboom. McTavish centering the forward line for Edmonton with Hunter and McSorley, and the play is offside, Philadelphia. Let's check in here with Tom Mees.
Yeah, lots happening in Chicago. Goals coming hot and heavy with a minute 20 to go in the second period, trailing 3-1. Look at the work by the Blackhawks in front. Dennis Savard to Steve Larmer. Larmer to Bill Watson, number 14, and Watson, the kid from Minnesota Duluth, scores with a minute 20 to go. After one, it's Washington 3, Chicago 2. Ken?
Tom Mees, Bill Watson really coming on for Chicago in their most recent game. He had 2 against St. Louis. They've been wondering when this scoring machine from college would score in the NHL.
There's a look at the enforcer, as you referred to him earlier, Ken. Dave Brown. He got 450 minutes in penalties 2 years ago in the minors, so he knows his way around the penalty box pretty well.
Jari Kurri out of the reach of Gretzky. Howe races back. Hextall has to play it, no icing. Kurri intercepts. Gretzky. Here's Tikkanen. And it's intercepted by Stanley and cleared the length of the ice. This will be an icing. We're in the midst of the second period in Edmonton on the NHL Tonight. Philadelphia on top 2-1.
For sports excitement in January,
Nichols Ski Shop in Dearborn has the best selection of ski equipment for downhill and cross-country. Boots, only the best. Skis, every major manufacturer. Clothing, to keep you warm and fast. You can trust Nichols Ski Shop for service and price. Nichols Ski Shop on Michigan Avenue in Dearborn, 1.5 miles west of Southfield.
No matter what shape your hair is in, the Rayco House will make it look better. Rayco. Hairstyling for men, women, and children. Treat yourself to the best. The Rayco House.
1 week from Tuesday here on ESPN, the NHL Tonight will be at the Spectrum, and we'll see these incredible Flyers again as they host the New Jersey Devils Tuesday night, January the 6th. That's 1 week from Tuesday. And as Mike Keenan told Bill and I earlier today, he says, I really hate to play New Jersey. They're tough to beat.
Yeah, they're a scary team to play against. Very disciplined, young, play pretty aggressively, and you never know how they're going to play.
Puck kept in, Hospodar, and Moog protecting himself, making the save.
Ken, I think that might have actually gone off his mask right off the forehead.
Tried to get the glove hand up, and may well not have gotten any of it. Tocchet can't get the shot away. Gretzky against Crossman. Behind the play, some extracurricular activity. Sutter, Craven, Tikkanen, and Lowe. And Murray Craven, the first player to the penalty box, and he'll be joined by Esa Tikkanen of the Oilers.
They were jousting back in the corner and just never stopped. They kept coming up the ice, jabbing on one another. Fournier really didn't have much of a choice but to whistle them both off. Here's that shot from the point. That was using your head. That hit Andy Moog right on the mask. Right on that top part, right over the cage, and just glanced off, went up onto the glass.
That saved about 25 stitches.
And can you imagine the goalies, even until the mid-70s, there was one that didn't wear a mask in a hockey game? We talk about visors for the forwards now and helmets for everyone. I can't imagine what it would be like playing goal without a mask.
So, coincidental penalties. Both teams will play at full strength. Krushelnyski facing off against Sutter. Hospodar, Derek Smith. Derek Smith scored Philadelphia's second goal in period 1. He takes out Kevin Lowe. Craven and Tikkanen slashing penalties at 9:34. The puck comes in front. It's still loose. Ron Sutter had a good chance. Jari Kurri trying to backhand the puck out, unable to. Low back. Hit by Ron Sutter, but carries on. Here's Tocchet. Philadelphia just won't allow Edmonton to get out. Derek Smith's shot stopped.
They contain better than anyone in the NHL too, Ken. Once they start pressuring you, they can really contain.
Jari Kurri one-on-one with Hospodar, and Hextall knocked down by the force of the shot, and Ron Fournier blows the whistle. Just as a fighter would be dazed and the referee would stop the fight, Ron Fournier, the referee, says he got hit by such a wicked drive. Let's stop and check him.
Yeah, you could hear the boos here in Edmonton from the hometown fans. That hit him up on the mask, too. If not on the mask, then right near his neck and his right shoulder blade. Let's see if we can see it from this angle. Right on the side of the mask, side of the helmet. Boy, that's unusual that they get hit on the head. Usually have time to move away. We've seen it twice now in less than a minute. Take more than that to slow that kid down, though. He comes from he's third-generation National Hockey Leaguer. His father, Brian, played in the NHL. His grandfather, Brian Hextall Sr., played in the NHL. His uncle, Dennis, played. He's got the bloodlines to be a great competitor. And as a kid, his dad wanted him to skate. They saw his shot. They saw his skating ability, and he was obsessed with playing goal. And I'll tell you what, he stuck to it, would not let his dad and his uncle sway him. Turned out pretty good for him, I'd say.
Here's Randy Gregg. Behind the net for Kevin McClellan. Looking in front for Anderson and can't get the puck through. And play is stopped. Marsh and McClellan were bumping, and they still are. Glenn Sather, the coach of the Oilers, and a pretty good bumper in his NHL career, observing the activity. There will not be any penalties.
Can you tell me why the whistle went?
I'm not sure if it was... I believe it was Fournier looking at the bumping between McClellan and Marsh and wanted to stop it before anything further developed.
Well, that's a new one for me. I mean, blowing the whistle to stop something from happening and not calling any penalties. It might have been Swede Knox blowing his whistle, too. They might have thought that the net actually popped off its moorings. That was my indication. One way or the other, faced off deep in the Flyers zone.
McClellan stopped by Hextall. And Marsh gets the puck and clears it. Well, you hate to see that goalie looking back in the net. He might not have been too sure of himself. There's an icing against Philadelphia. 9:11 to go in the second period, and the Flyers lead it 3-1.
From the investor's point of view, with
Memories. Memories of Christmas brought to you by Fairlane Ford. Anticipation. Writing Santa Claus. Getting to bed on time without a fuss because Santa's checking to see who's been naughty or nice. Checking the chimney. Leaving milk and cookies out for a hard-working Santa Claus. Celebration. Christmas is here. Memories. These memories have been brought to you by Fairlane Ford, Dearborn's first Ford dealer.
Lead on Minnesota 3-2 in the second period. Washington leads Chicago 3-2 in Chicago after one. And in the Calgary Cup round-robin tournament, it's the Soviet Union leading Czechoslovakia 1-0 in the first at the Saddle Dome. Now let's go up the road a piece to Edmonton and Ken Wilson.
Thank you, Tom Mees. Back for the puck is Steve Smith of Edmonton. He and the Oilers trail the Flyers 3-1 in the battle of the NHL's best. Messier shoots, and it goes wide. Anderson crunched by Marsh. McClellan throws a heavy hit, but Poulin stays with it, and Smith intercepts. Of course, congratulations as the puck goes in the penalty box in order for the USA team that upset Canada in the Calgary Cup down the road from Edmonton last night. A group of U.S.-born, or at least U.S. citizens who play pro hockey basically in the minor leagues, got together, and Bill Clement took on a rather experienced team from Canada.
Yeah, the surprising thing about it, Ken, is that they got together the day of the game. Didn't even have their equipment until the day before the game. 2 big goals by Brett Hull. Scoring runs in the Hull family. He's the son of Bobby Hull, but they definitely a surprise.
Here, 3-1 Philadelphia. Moog, a routine play to Bukaboom. Dave Hunter to McTavish, who's got McSorley on his right. Marty McSorley trying to get the puck back to McTavish can't. Bukaboom pinching in the defenseman. Dave Hunter's pass hits a Flyer player. Kerr on a break, but he's offside. And that stops play with 8:18 to go in the middle period, and the faceoff will come back inside the Philadelphia blue line.
You know, it's difficult to believe the Philadelphia Flyers, Ken, have never had a Calder Trophy winner for the top rookie in the NHL or a Norris Trophy winner as the top defenseman. And yet in the last 14 years, they have won more hockey games than any team in the National Hockey League. At present, they are 1 game ahead of the Montreal Canadiens. They've been a wonderful franchise, but a lot of the major trophies have escaped them, at least since Bobby Clark left. He won the Hart Trophy as the league's most valuable player 3 times.
There's Paul Coffey, a 2-time Norris Trophy winner, as Bill mentioned at the beginning of our telecast. He beat out Mark Howe for the Norris Trophy, best defenseman in the league last year, and it's not inconceivable that Mark Howe someday could be a Norris Trophy winner for Philadelphia. And certainly not too far-fetched at all to think that Ron Hextall could win the Calder Trophy this year. Carson, McTavish intercepting. The Oilers. McTavish to Hunter, and getting his stick on the puck was Samuelson. Bukaboom is caught. It's 2-on-1. Back is Coffey, and behind the play, a penalty. A penalty will be called against the Flyers. Darryl Stanley will get a look again at the Edmonton power play as the Oilers trail the Flyers 3-1.
Introducing a new category of automobiles. The new Ford Thunderbird Turbo Coupe. Designed with an intercooled turbocharged engine, computerized suspension, and an anti-lock braking system. So rather than fall into any existing category, the new Thunderbird Turbo Coupe creates its own.
Have you driven a Ford lately?
If you just ask for a light beer, you never know what you'll get.
Thoughts? No, actually, Bud Light.
So if you want the less filling light beer with the first name and taste, ask for Bud Light.
Yours? No.
Because everything else...
Give me a light. Showtime!
It's just a light.
If you don't read the Wall Street Journal, you're saving a little time when you could be investing it.
Call 800-372-3000 for this special introductory offer. 13 weeks for just $29.50 with a money-back guarantee. 13 weeks, $29.50. Phone 800-372-3000 now for the Wall Street Journal.
In Winnipeg, this is the goal that gave the Jets a 3-2 lead over Minnesota. Dale Howard chucked to Paul McLean. McLean has time, and he makes no mistake. Don Beaupre is out of there. Kari Taco is in the nets now for the North Stars, and that must have inspired Minnesota because the game has just been tied up at 3-3 in the second period. Back to Edmonton and Ken Wilson.
Daryl Stanley here is off for tripping. Well, I'll tell you, Edmonton's power play isn't going very well, Ken, but you have to know that sooner or later, with the individual talent that they have, Gretzky's out there, Messier is out there, Coffey is usually out there, Glenn Anderson, sooner or later, you're going to run into problems.
Edmonton, 0 for 3 in the power play tonight. 1 for 12 in the 3 games against Philadelphia. Messier with Anderson and Gretzky. Messier went down. Samuelson will go off. There'll be a two-man advantage. A two-man player advantage for Edmonton for 1 minute and 46. And I'd almost, well, I might bet my house that they'll score.
Boy, I'll tell you, he undressed the big guy, Shel Samuelson. What a move he put to bring it back onto his backhand and try and go wide. Look at his move. Samuelson clearly moving to his left, and that little choice but to drag him down or to allow him to win all alone on Ron Hextall. The Oilers are at their best when they have a two-man advantage. You'll see Gretzky, Coffey, Messier, Anderson. These are some of the most talented players in the NHL, along with Jari Kurri. I would think 5 of the 10 most talented players in the National Hockey League are on the ice right now with a two-man advantage.
Hooking penalty to Samuelson, 14 seconds after the tripping penalty to Stanley. Philadelphia 2 men short. Well, we can at least bet the cold bud for after the game here. You buy or I tell you, I guarantee you Edmonton will score it here.
Guaranteed?
Guaranteed the cold bud.
All right.
Here's Gretzky to Coffey. Hextall is saved. And again on Anderson. Now and Anderson behind the net. Messier trying to get it loose. It comes in front. And Crossman clears. Jari Kurri. Edmonton up by 2 men. Big trail, 3-1. Gretzky. Kurri. And it goes wide, and Gretzky will have to come back and play the puck in his own end.
Boy, that will kill a 5-on-3 quicker than anything. That big shot that goes wide. Everybody's in a little tighter on a 5-on-3. Nobody's going to be back there at the blue line to get that puck when it comes around the board.
Gretzky setting up. Poulin, the lone forward for Philadelphia. Crossman and Howe on defense. Still 1 minute 5 in the two-man advantage. This is the second period here at the Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton. Kurri, screen shot, ouch! Mark Messier has a wealth on his side. Poulin has the puck taken away by Kurri. He looks for Gretzky. Puck stays in. Anderson maybe making 1 too many passes, and then Messier looks like he hit the post or maybe hit Hextall. Now Gretzky. His shot goes wide. 35 seconds left in the 2 penalties for Philadelphia. The two-man advantage. Gretzky. Poke check, but it's Coffey. Boy, when you got a two-man advantage, you can virtually do no wrong. Messier, Anderson and Gretzky in front, and Kurri has the puck half away. In 20 seconds, Stanley will be back on. Then Edmonton will still have a one-man advantage. Messier cutting in. He shoots. He scores. Mark Messier.
We will have to watch hockey for a few more games this year, Ken, before we see as great an individual effort as this. Mark Messier, so strong, so fast. Look at this move. On Mark Howe at that. All the way around. Hextall turns back. And, 5-on-3 should be scored with teamwork. Messier said, let me take it, guys. Hextall was so angry, he got up after the goal. He was almost able to reach out with those long arms and grab the puck. Messier didn't have much of an angle to shoot on. He is an amazing athlete. Big, strong. He doesn't have a weakness other than the fact that in certain games he lets down mentally. But when he is on his game, Glenn Sather has consistently referred to Mark Messier as the second greatest hockey player in the world.
Mark Messier, 16th goal of the year. He's in his 8th season with Edmonton. He is the second leading scorer, or I should say the second leading scorer to Gretzky on the team, and one of the top 5 scorers in the NHL with Gretzky and Tim Kerr. And look at that, they want a timeout.
Not a bad move.
That is a power play goal for Edmonton. Coffey and Curry assisting. Messier gets it. It's 3-2 Philadelphia now. The time of the goal, 13:55, and congratulations. You buy all the cold butt after the game.
Was that a bottle or a draft?
It might have been a case.
I'll tell you, it took a great individual effort. I really enjoy watching Mark Messier. He's a fan's delight, and you have to sit up here and turn into a fan to a degree, at least a fan of a good play. Here's a look at an offside that actually wasn't an offside. It's difficult to tell from this angle, but Wayne Gretzky was very, very close to being offside. The Flyers survived that one.
It's a case of survival now for Mike Keenan and Philadelphia. Their 3-goal lead is now 1 goal. As the timeout concludes, let's go to Tom Mees.
All right, Ken, up in Winnipeg, it's a great night for number 7, Neil Broughton of the Minnesota North Stars. Kent Nilsson holding. Nice back pass to Broughton, who scores. Neil Broughton, the former All-American from Minnesota, has the hat trick, and Kent Nilsson has 3 assists. Minnesota has a 3-3 tie in Winnipeg in the second. Ken?
All right, Tom Mees. Boy, what a thrill it is just to sit here and watch and enjoy this game.
The Flyers are aware of the fact that they have to play team-oriented hockey all game long, and they're also aware of the fact that the Oilers have such great individuals that in a couple of rushes they can turn the complexion of the game around. I suspect that the Flyers, I don't suspect, I have seen them actually back off in their checking this period. They really haven't been taking the body to Edmonton the way they did in the first. They're letting Edmonton away with a lot of rushes, and that is not what you want to do against the Oilers. They had them where they wanted them. I think they've let them off a little bit in spite of that goal. They were 2 men down.
Philadelphia still shorthanded. Samuelson, though, ready to come back on. He returns to the ice. Here's Jari Kurri. Samuelson takes out Coffey. That's like a man coming out of the dark of night on you. Poulin, one-on-one with Randy Gregg. Now Hull comes up, and he can't get a good pass, nor can he get a good shot away. Back the other way, Gretzky. Samuelson and Marsh back. Gretzky with Tikkanen. Gretzky shoots. He scores. It's tied. Wayne Gretzky works his magic.
What do we say about the individual efforts, that one big rush? Wayne all alone. He gets some help from Asa Tikkanen on the right of your screen. Tikkanen will come in and pinch in right off Samuelson's stick. That hit number 28 stick. It was rolling to start, so it would have been a knuckleball one way or the other. Look at the puck up on end. Samuelson deflects it right up over Hextall's shoulder.
And for Gretzky, 36 goals now in 37 games. He had scored at least 1 point in 19 straight games until the 2-1 loss the other night here to Winnipeg. It is 3-3. Gretzky unassisted with both teams at even strength at 14-42. 2 Edmonton goals in 47 seconds. Carson stopped. Eklund stopped. Oh, what a save by Moog on Pele Eklund. It's back the other way. And Dave Hunter can't get the pass through to McTavish. Now the Flyers turn it into the Edmonton zone. Here's Tim Kerr, and a backhand shot hits Muni's skate. Marsh keeping the puck in to Tim Kerr. Muni stops him. Then Eklund poke check. And it's McSorley with Hunter and McTavish. 3-on-3. Samuelson takes out McSorley with a big bump, and there'll be a penalty. There'll be a penalty coming up here. Tremendous action on the NHL tonight from Edmonton with 4:28 to go in the second period. It's 3-3.
If you think physical fitness can help you get ahead in business, subscribe to the Wall Street Journal and see what mental fitness can do.
Call 800-372-3000 for this special introductory offer. 13 weeks for just $29.50 with a money-back guarantee. 13 weeks, $29.50. Phone 800-372-3000 now for the Wall Street Journal.
Pretty difficult to question Marty McSorley's toughness, number 33 for the Oilers. He takes Big Shell Samuelson. Watch this. He will try and put his head right through the glass. Here it is, like into the turnbuckle. We talked about wrestling last time we were here against Winnipeg.
Looks like it again.
The new look. That's not the mask that Ron Hextall started this game with. We're not sure when he changed it, but in the last few minutes, I suspect after he took that shot on the side of the head, it looked like the mask popped loose. He might have even damaged the strap on the other mask.
15:32, the time of McSorley's roughing penalty. Heck, in the WWF, on television, that's nothing. Into the turnbuckle head first. There's 4:12 to go in the second period. Oh, what a game. 3-3. Low back for the puck. And it sails into the crowd. Oilers are playing shorthanded. Philadelphia tonight is 0 for 2, Bill, on the power play. And against Edmonton in the 3 games, Philadelphia is just 1 for 15 against the Flyers with a man advantage.
There's one of the guys that's a stalwart back there killing penalties. I would think that he and Brad Marsh, number 8 for the Flyers, Kevin Lowe, number 4 for the Oilers, are 2 of the best, if not the best, shot blockers in the game today. They play with fearless and reckless abandon, and they are such an asset out there killing penalties. I'll tell you, got to hand it to the Oilers tonight, Ken. They were champions, not last season, but the season before, plus the season before that. They have shown me that they still have a lot of that spark that championship teams are made of. And in spite of that, I still think that we're watching the best team in the Philadelphia Flyers. However, the Oilers are wonderful.
Randy Mitton taking care of the ice, and we're going to get an update on another game from Tom Eaves.
All right, Ken, around the NHL tonight. Buffalo trailing Calgary 3-1 late in the third. Minnesota and Winnipeg on that Neil Broughton goal and outside 3-0 in the second. Washington and Chicago 3-2 Washington, and they're on a 5-minute power play are the Capitals. That's in the second period. The Calgary Cup, the Soviets lead Czechoslovakia 2-0. Back to Ken Wilson.
Paul Coffey to Wayne Gretzky, but Messier to Gretzky's right went in offside. 3:57 is the time remaining in this second period.
I will guarantee you this man will be tired when the evening is through. Number 99 for the Oilers.
How much do you think he weighs? You know, you and I saw him the other night after the Winnipeg game downstairs. I mean, he is very, very slight. Not just slender, he's slight.
He is their smallest forward weight-wise. He is listed at 170, but that's got to be soaking wet. He must weigh 165. Have to keep in mind, too, he perspires a lot. Players, I would lose 7 to 10 pounds in a lot of games. Players have lost 12 pounds in a game. Wayne Gretzky sweats a lot, and when you weigh 165, you can't afford that type of water loss, and he does it game in and game out and somehow remains capable of playing.
Gretzky killing penalties. He takes sometimes more than a regular shift, also plays the power play. Crossman, Zezel, Kerr's in front. Where else? Howe shoots, no screen. Routine save for Moe. 57 seconds to go in the Philadelphia power play. Kerr! And he can't get it by Andy Moe. Oh, there was a perfect setup.
Perfect setup, perfect save.
Zezel. And Messier keeps the puck from getting to Kerr. In front, Zezel. A second effort. Then another shot. And Andy Moe has come up with 3 super saves. Boy, is that something to watch Tim Kerr. He just stands there, and you cannot even sway him. He is so strong and tough in front of the net.
He is just about at the outside limits of weight for a hockey player. You lose a lot of agility. He's 225 pounds, and they always like to feed it through the crease. They did it a few times. On this replay, they just shovel it in front. You can see that they're jamming away at it. Zezel has 1 shot at it, 2 shots at it. Then Crossman comes in. Moe doesn't know where it is. What do you do? Spread out.
Andy Moog has come on here in the second period after Philadelphia scored 3 goals against Grant Fuhrer on only 6 shots in the opening period. And Moog, the young man from British Columbia, has been tremendous for Glenn Sather.
Looking pretty good now, Glenn. We wouldn't have said that in the first period if you had come onto our screen, but you're looking fine now.
In that first period for Philadelphia, Crossman, Smith, and Sutter scored. In the second period for Edmonton, Curry, Messier, and Gretzky. Puck controlled by Philadelphia. Mellenby to Poulin. Gregg intercepts and hits Kerr. Crossman keeping the puck in. McSorley in the box for another 15 seconds. Look at that play by Gregg as Mellenby was open on the other side of the net.
Now, it's obvious that the Flyers have that set play where they try and feed the puck right through the crease. The goalie's crease. Now Hextall's caught out.
And he's not going to let the stick of McTavish go. Boy, Hextall is a gamey player, isn't he? He's got that fire of the family. McSorley out of the penalty box. Howe stops the shot. McSorley again. And Muni's shot blocked. Marty McSorley may not have the best hands in the league in front of the net.
Why do you say that, Ken? I'll tell you what, it's not for lack of trying. He's a converted defenseman. He played defense most of his career. I'll tell you, anytime he chokes up in front of the net, it's not for lack of effort.
Rendezvous 87. It'll be at the Quebec City Coliseum the second week of February. The Russians against the NHL All-Stars. It's here on ESPN February 11th and 13th.
Did you see that move? He actually stick-handled behind, tried to go around McTavish. McTavish does the right thing. Play him as if you were a defenseman trying to beat you, ride him out of the play and pin him against the boards. Unfortunately, McTavish didn't have any help sweeping in there to get that loose puck. Look at Hextall whacking the post. You can hear him from up here. He goes back and forth, kind of a twitch or just a habit that he's developed. But he really, basically, most goaltenders do that, but not as frequently. And that's to find out where the net is behind them so they never lose sight of where they are.
Ron Sutter breaks out for the Flyers. Here's Rick Tocchet. And the play is offside, pass from inside the Philadelphia blue line. Rick Tocchet gets his share of penalty minutes. He is in only his 3rd season at age 22. One of the many young players on this squad.
Yeah, they are still young. People have to remember that. Really emerging as quite a leader on this team. He's in a bit of a goal-scoring slump now, but he plays on their checking line with Lindsey Carson and Ron Sutter most of the time. They're out there together now. Derek Smith is on the left side, but this kid's feisty too, Ken. He can fight, he can play, and he can score goals.
That's one of the things about this Philadelphia team. They are very much a together team, a team that sticks together.
Yeah, that's what Glenn Resch pointed out when he came to this team. He is backing up Ron Hextall in goal tonight, and he said on most teams you have 5 or 6 guys that are really intense. On the Flyers, it's 15 guys, and when any altercation happens on the ice, it means something to the whole team, and everyone reacts to it. That's why over the years it's always been difficult for teams to play against the Flyers, because they respond collectively to situations on the ice. They don't respond individually.
We have 1:55 left in a period that generally has belonged to Edmonton, certainly on the scoreboard. And when this period ends during the second intermission, talented Tom Mees will be along. There's no one better in the business for scampering from arena to arena. He'll bring you up to date on the other action in the NHL tonight and more during the second intermission here on ESPN. That play is offside, Philadelphia at the Edmonton blue line. Down the road in Calgary, the Calgary Cup. Tom updates us on that.
All right, Ken, in the second period at the Olympic Saddledome, Olympic-size ice here, the Soviets in white, a perfect 3-on-2. Watch them execute. The pass from left wing to right wing and the score. Komatov with the goal. The Soviets lead Czechoslovakia 2-0. Some of the players playing tonight in Calgary you'll see live at Rendezvous 87 against the NHL All-Stars on ESPN. Ken?
Minute 40 to go, second period, 3-3. Messier for Edmonton. Intercepting Samuelson, shooting the puck in. It's still a delayed offside against Philadelphia. They did not clear the zone, and the offside is called. Shots even, 16 aside. Goals even, 3 aside.
There's the steal of the year, Ken. Craig Muni of the Oilers. I would have to think he would be classified as the steal of the year. They signed him out of the Toronto organization. He was a top pick for Toronto. and really didn't pan out. But it must kill a team like Toronto to see a kid that never panned out go to an organization and play the way they thought he would play when they drafted him. That's what Muni has done for the Oilers. Really had a great season paired with Kevin Lowe on defense.
Sutter to face off against Messier, and Sutter wins the draw. Hospodar with Marsh on defense for the Flyers. Derek Smith moving in, center! Tocchet can't get the shot. That was superior effort by Derek Smith that almost created a Philadelphia goal. Messier stopped. Tocchet trying to clear the puck. McClellan gets it for the Oilers. Now Philadelphia taking over again, and there'll be a penalty as McClellan had been upended, but the penalty will be against Edmonton. A delayed penalty coming up against the Edmonton Oilers. It comes with just 56 seconds to go in the second period, and I believe it'll be Glenn Anderson going off, and he is at least acting as though he is surprised by Ron Fournier's call.
Well, I didn't see it from here. Perhaps Glenn Anderson didn't really see it either.
I saw McClellan go down near the Philadelphia net, and all of a sudden Ron Fournier's arm went up, and it is a roughing penalty at 19:04 to the Oilers' Glenn Anderson.
Well, it's not uncharacteristic of Glenn Anderson, as I mentioned in the first period. So was that a roughing penalty? I'm not sure. I believe that's what was called.
I know one thing, Glenn Anderson got socked to the ice.
Yeah. But he does things away from the play. He's really cagey, and he's not very obvious in what he does, but he's a ruthless player when he wants to be. Very strong, very agile, and a great skater.
Both teams tonight have a power play goal. It is 3-3. This is the power play for Philadelphia. Keep in mind again, we mentioned it in the first period, both of these teams are superior at scoring shorthanded goals. Becklin shoots, and Moe makes the save on that shorthanded attempt. Actually, at full strength. It's the Oilers that are shorthanded, and Philadelphia working on their power play. Crossman with a puck scored a power play goal in the first minute of the game. And the puck sent into the crowd. So there's a minute and a half to go in Anderson's penalty. The Oilers shorthanded with only 26 to go in the period.
There's a man that's going to be called upon to really put the puck in the net for the Flyers, especially you mentioned earlier, Ken, that Brian Propp and Ilka Sinisalo are out of their lineup. Kelly Eklund, according to Coach Keenan, is their most skilled player, and they're really going to have to fall back on guys like Zezel and Eklund. With Propp and Sinisalo being out, they represent just about somewhere between 20 and 25% of their total goal output last year. And that, if there's one area the Flyers are not deep in, it's in scoring. Sure, they have Tim Kerr and Brian Propp, and when Propp isn't there, that leaves the load on Tim Kerr, so they have to look at their secondary guys, Eklund, Zezel, people like this.
Kerr and Messier. Kerr wins the face-off. Howe over to Crossman. Zezel tied up by Coffey. 15 seconds remaining in the period. 2-on-1 break. Howe back. Make it 3-on-1. Coffey from McTavish. Has Messier from McTavish in the crease. The defenseman cannot smother the puck in the crease, and Mark Howe did not, but Hextall did. And there's 7 seconds to go in the middle period.
Watch the puck rolling here. I'm surprised Craig McTavish actually didn't try to flatten it out, because the puck never did lie down. Mark Messier ended up with a pass on his backhand. McTavish had a lot of time to be able to flatten it out, and he didn't. See it rolling? Still rolling. Back to him rolling. Rolling across to Messier, who has to try and jam it in on his backhand. That's plenty of time for a veteran forward like Craig McTavish to flatten that puck out and make a decent pass with it.
Key face-off here. 7 seconds to go in the period. Messier will try to get it back to either McTavish or Coffey, and the Flyers want to make sure they have those men covered. Actually, Messier just tried to get a quick shot on goal, which is a little surprising. Zezel, 2 seconds. And it's a tremendous second period for Edmonton as Jari Kurri, Mark Messier, and Wayne Gretzky score to tie it.
There's the guy that may have just sparked this Oilers team tonight, Andy Moog, who came in to replace the starting goalie, Grant Fuhr, at the start of the second period. And for all of the saves that Fuhr didn't make, I'll tell you, Moog made 4, 5, maybe 6 brilliant saves in this second period.
And shots on goal in the middle period, 11 aside. After 2 periods with Tom Mees coming up and second intermission activity, it's the Philadelphia Flyers 3, the Edmonton Oilers 3.
Now, there's big news for entrepreneurs who think big. Small Business Report, a weekly rundown of the issues that could make or break your business. Legislation, liability insurance, management and marketing, venture capital, and inspirational success stories. If you want to make it big in the small business world, watch Small Business Report, Fridays on Nation's Business Today, here on ESPN.
And welcome back to the NHL Tonight. I'm Tom Mees. This segment being brought to you by the folks at AT&T, making the right choice. Staying with the NHL Tonight. What excitement we have coming up for you in the third period tonight from Edmonton. 3-3 hockey game. You'll see more excitement in that period than you saw all afternoon in the NHL wildcard playoff games. That is almost assured. A lot of excitement tonight at Chicago Stadium. Two cities that will meet next week in a football player meeting tonight on the ice. The Capitals lead Chicago by a score of 4-2 on a second period goal by Larry Murphy. Now let's go live to Chicago Stadium, where Mike Fornes and Al Koken are standing by to describe the live goings-on. Second period, Blackhawks trail Washington 4-2. Mike?
We welcome our viewers from ESPN to our DC-20 sports telecast. Capitals 4, Blackhawks 2 here in the second period. Bob Mason clears the puck away from the side of the net to Langway. Now Hatcher off the boards and past Francischetti all the way inside the Chicago zone. Larry Murphy's power play goal here in this second period has given the Capitals the 2-goal lead back once again. Duchesne throws a hit on the sideboards, and Murphy creeps in. Tried to find Kostelic with a pass. Langway keeps it inside the Chicago zone. Now Wilson back into the corner, but Kostelic is there for the Capitals. At the point, Langway with a blast that goes wide of the net. Here's Watson clearing it out of the zone and sends it all the way back inside the Capitals' end. Langway there to get it. No icing called, and the Capitals start out. Here's a pass from Murphy back to center ice. Brown to the red line for Troy Murray. Taken over by Olchuk on the left wing. Kurt Fraser across the line. Fires, and Mason makes the pad save. On the backboard, here's Murphy. Up to Michael Pavanka. Back to Langway, but Fraser steals, centers, and Murphy blocked the shot by Troy Murray. Back come the Capitals again. Pavanka on the rush. He fires. That's blocked by Brown. Taken in behind the goal. Nyland to chase it, but Troy Murray moves it out of the corner right to Christian. Gets it around on his backhand to the point. Cavallini over to Blum, a slap shot, and a save by Sauve, who grabs it with his glove. Murray starting out of the zone now to center. Flips it back inside the Capital zone. Cavallini takes it back. Moves it out to center ice and Dave Christian. Christian to Lachlan. Into the Hawk zone, and again it's steered by Sauve behind the net for Nyland. Up to Brown. Lead pass to center for Troy Murray. Offside, the call. That pass came from back in the Chicago end.
And it is still 4-2. The Capitals leading Chicago's second period. We'll update you on that game as well as everything else on the NHL Tonight. Brought to you by AT&T. It is 3-3, Flyers and Oilers.
We designed the Ford Escort GT with an advanced port fuel-injected engine. Next, we added a more precise cornering front and rear suspension, along with a carefully selected interior. And we did it all just for fun. This is Escort GT.
Now, get 3.9% financing or $300 cash back from Ford.
First period was all Philadelphia. Second period all Edmonton. It's 3-3. Flyers and Oilers will be getting back for an exciting third period in a moment. You know, Rendezvous 87 is coming up February 11th and 13th live on ESPN. What is Rendezvous 87? Well, it's a series of two all-star hockey games between a team of the NHL All-Stars and the best from the Soviet Union. You'll be seeing both games live exclusively in the USA right here on ESPN from Quebec City as part of the Winter Carnival in that beautiful city, in that beautiful province. Now, the Dodge Plymouth people are conducting fan balloting across the USA and Canada to choose some of the starters for the NHL All-Stars. Let's see what's occurring. At the left wing position, Michel Goulet of the Quebec Nordiques is on top still. He's been there all the way. John Tonelli of Calgary, Matt Staslin, Brian Proppman, Glenn Anderson round out the top five at left wing. At center, Mario Lemieux of the Pittsburgh Penguins, who's currently being sidelined with some strained knee ligaments. He'll be okay, though, by Rendezvous 87. Wayne Gretzky close behind him, followed by Peter Stastny, Brian Trottier, and Ron Francis from the Hartford Whalers. At right wing, it's still Mike Bossy, the perennial all-star of the New York Islanders, 700 or so votes. There you see Kerr, Cicerelli, Curry, and Joey Mullen rounding out the top 5. I'll get it straight sooner or later. On defense, Mark Howell, you're seeing in action right tonight, live on ESPN, for the Philadelphia Flyers, and Paul Coffey, his opposite number with the Oilers. Also, of course, in action tonight, those are the top 2 vote getters on defense, with Ray Bourque of Boston, Doug Bodger of Pittsburgh, and Larry Robinson of Montreal rounding out the top 5. And in goal, who's going to try and stop those powerful Soviets? Right now, Clint Malarchuk of the Quebec Nordiques is the #1 choice of the hockey fans around the NHL, followed by Patrick Roy of Montreal, Mike Burnett of Calgary, Mike Lute of Hartford, and Bob Froese of the New York Rangers. Don't forget, the NHL All-Stars against the Soviets. Rendezvous 87, February 11th and 13th on ESPN.
No battery has the energy to outrun the Energizer, even in a toy robot. No battery outruns the Energizer.
3 other games in the NHL tonight. This segment brought to you by the folks at AT&T, making the right choice. Staying with us here at ESPN, the NHL tonight. Calgary's beaten Buffalo 4-1, the final there. So the Sabres, the team with the worst record in the NHL, sink lower in the Adams Division basement. Meanwhile, Calgary at this hour only 3 points behind the Oilers in the Smythe Division. Tonight in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Minnesota and Winnipeg are tied at 3 as they're just getting set to start the 3rd period. Let's take a look at the action from the 2nd period of this game, which was very much seesaw with a 2-1 Jets. Look at that play from Broughton to Nilsson to Broughton for Minnesota to tie the game at 2. Then here come the Jets. Howard-Chuck to Paul McLean, number 15, who snaps one off and beats Don Beaupre. That made it 3-2. The Jets in front, but back come the Minnesota North Stars as Kent Nilsson holding. The backhand pass to you-know-who, Neil Broughton, his 3rd goal tonight. He has 3 goals. Nilsson has 3 assists early in the 3rd period. That game is now tied. Minnesota 3 and Winnipeg 3. Also at Chicago Stadium tonight, the Blackhawks at home been playing very well of late, taking on the Washington Capitals. Each team has had a 5-minute power play. Chicago has just scored to make it Washington 4, Chicago 3. Let's show you what happened, though, earlier on in the 2nd period of this game tonight from the stadium. With a score, 1-1. This is Bobby Gould to Scott Stevens, number 3, winding up from the blue line. A bouncing puck beats Bob Silva to make it 2-1 Washington. Now, later on, it is Savard to Larmer. This is Larmer with the puck, and a nice pass over to number 14, Bill Watson. And Chicago closes within 3-2. But later on, Washington on the power play. Larry Murphy tries to center the puck, goes off the Chicago defenseman's skate. It is 4-2 Washington, and we understand that Troy Murray has just scored to make it 4-3. So Washington leads the Blackhawks by a score of 4-3. Of course, the Calgary Cup also going on tonight. The USA upset Canada last night. Tonight, the USSR, the Soviets, lead the Czechoslovakian team 2-0. And after 2 periods at the Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton, maybe the best game of all tonight, Edmonton and Philadelphia tied at 3 with a tremendous 3rd period set as the NHL tonight continues in just a moment.
This is the new Ford Mustang GT. With its unmistakably new body surrounding an equally dramatic 5-liter port fuel-injected engine, it's easy to pick out the Mustang GT from a crowd. Not that it's likely to be in one. This is the new Mustang GT.
Have you driven a Ford lately?
Tuesday, a championship night of action on ESPN. The final 4 survivors of the Challenge Down Under prepare to win the America's Cup. Then, the disciplined Iowa Hawkeyes take on Western Athletic Conference champion San Diego State in the SeaWorld Holiday Bowl, live. And the championship game of the UAB Tournament Classic features the best college basketball action in America. Total Sports Tuesday starts at 8 Eastern, only on ESPN.
Welcome back to the NHL tonight. One score in college hockey of note tonight at a sold-out Joe Louis Arena, over 21,000, saw Western Michigan beat the Michigan Wolverines 8-2 to take the championship in the annual Great Lakes Hockey Tournament. Now, the highlights of the second period tonight on the NHL Tonight between Philadelphia and the Edmonton Oilers. First period, all Philly. Second period, all Edmonton. Got back into it. Jari Kurri comes up with a puck. Loose puck in front, and he is deadly. A nice screen there set against the goaltender by Brad Marsh, 3-1. Now, on the power play, the Oilers actually have a 4-on-2 here. And look at Mark Messier as he just holds the puck and beats Ron Hextall to make it 3-2 Philadelphia. Still later in the second period, Wayne Gretzky, blue line to blue line, winds up, shoots, and he scores. Number 99, that's why they call him Wayne Gretzky. Mr. Marvelous in the National Hockey League. He's the great one, Wayne Gretzky. So it is Philadelphia 3, Edmonton 3, a great third period. Coming up from Edmonton, let's go back to Ken Wilson and Bill Clement, guys.
And the question for our expert analyst, Bill Clement, is what went wrong for Philadelphia in the second period, and what will happen here in period 3?
Well, we talked about them playing a disciplined style. I have a feeling Mike Keenan in the dressing room was saying, gentlemen, go back to the way we played in the first. Far smarter than the Oilers played. They didn't take the penalties they did in the second period. They got themselves into trouble. And if they play a disciplined style, they will get some breaks. You will always get your breaks against the Edmonton Oilers because the Oilers are not nearly as capable of playing tight hockey as the Philadelphia Flyers are. For the Oilers, they will continue to try and come with the great individual efforts at Ron Hextall. But I think the Flyers will try and get back to playing a much tighter, more disciplined game as they did in the first period.
Mark Howe will start on defense with Crossman. Zezel for Philadelphia between Kerr and Eklund. McTavish in the face-off circle for Edmonton. Edmonton is shorthanded for over a minute to start the third period. The Philadelphia power play. Flyers are 1 for 3 on the power play tonight. This man, Doug Crossman, scored a goal 36 seconds into the game. Zezel, an errant pass. And Eklund back for the puck. McTavish and Hunter doing a good job in the middle with Muni and Lowe. They really have that middle boxed up, Bill.
Yeah, if they can take away the middle, the Flyers do that to Edmonton. They're getting a bit of their own medicine now, and the Edmonton Oilers are taking away the center of the ice.
Moog steering the puck into the corner. Lowe the check on Eklund. Zezel chasing the puck, and on fresh ice, it's a tough chase. Hunter.
As the Philadelphia Flyers are. For the Oilers, they will continue to try and come with the great individual efforts at Ron Hextall. But I think the Flyers will try and get back to playing a much tighter, more disciplined game as they did in the first period.
Mark Howe will start on defense with Crossman. Zezel for Philadelphia between Kerr and Eklund. McTavish in the face-off circle for Edmonton. Edmonton is shorthanded for over a minute to start the third period. The Philadelphia power play. Flyers are 1 for 3 on the power play tonight. This man, Doug Crossman, scored a goal 36 seconds into the game. Zezel, an errant pass. And Eklund back for the puck. McTavish and Hunter doing a good job in the middle with Muni and Lowe. They really have that middle boxed up, Bill.
Yeah, if they can take away the middle, the Flyers do that to Edmonton. They're getting a bit of their own medicine now, and the Edmonton Oilers are taking away the center of the ice.
Moog steering the puck into the corner. Lowe the check on Eklund. Zezel chasing the puck, and on fresh ice, it's a tough chase. Hunter. Edmonton changing the penalty-killing unit as Gretzky goes after the puck. He centers and Crossman there. In 10 seconds, the Oilers' penalty to Anderson will be over. Eklund checked by Coffey with Gretzky, and that's it. Killing the penalty. Now Anderson comes on. He'll check Kerr. Jari Kurri with both teams at full strength. A minute 15 into the third period, 3-3 here at the Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton, Alberta. 6'6" Shell with a puck. Edmonton. Now back to Samuelsson again. Shell in the corner against Tikkanen, 2 Europeans. Marsh playing the puck around the boards. Now Tikkanen and Samuelsson mixing it up as Tikkanen lost his helmet, and it's an icing call against Philadelphia.
Well, you can hear the crowd. Samuelsson had Tikkanen in a headlock and simply wouldn't let him go. Fournier standing right there watching. Here's Tikkanen taking Samuelsson into the boards. Now watch Samuelsson with the right hand. He'll grab a hold of Tikkanen. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. Tikkanen trying to get away. That went on for a few seconds after that. Fournier standing right there watching.
Esa Tikkanen back from an injury, 21-year-old player from Finland. It's 3-3.
The NHL tonight is being brought to you by Chrysler Plymouth. We're working together to be the best. And by Casio, maker of the shock-resistant, water-resistant G-Shock. It's one tough watch to beat.
Face-off controlled by the Flyers in their own end, clearing the zone. Boom shoots the puck in. Hextall leaves it for Ron Sutter. Both teams trying to establish something here early in period 3. Messier. Now McClellan after the puck with Marsh chasing him. Leaving it for Anderson. Anderson, Messier, and McClellan. Here's Anderson in front. And breaking out the other way, it is Philadelphia. Sutter to Smith with Tocchet. Ron Sutter looking for Marsh. Gives the puck to Smith, a shot. And Moog the save in front. Marsh tied up. And the Oilers clear the puck away. Now the two teams change on the go. Derek Smith loses the puck. McSorley almost getting a break. Here is McSorley. His shot. And it's wide, low at the point. Keeping the puck in. McSorley can't handle it, and it bounced near the net and pulling off the boards, but the Oilers keep the puck in. Now it is Poulin breaking out for Philadelphia. To Scott Mellanby. Trying to get over Kevin Lowe, and he can't. Brad McCrimmon on with Mark Howe. Up front, Poulin with his man, Lindsey Carson, and Scott Mellanby. McTavish for Edmonton. Two teams almost look like they're feeling each other out here, 3:15 into the third period. Here's Howe. Poulin can't get it to Mellanby. Muni. McTavish. With Tikkanen and Curry. Covering up is Craven. A good check thrown on that play.
Well, it was a takedown. He went right for his knees from the waist down. To me, that's a penalty.
McTavish, checked by McCrimmon, the centering effort, the puck was right in goal. It looked like it was in, and the red light went on, and Edmonton has scored to make it 4-3. Hextall will protest, but it was in.
I'll tell you how you can tell whether the puck went in or not. Let's see how Ron Hextall argues it. He didn't argue it at all. It was a broken play from behind the net, and when it came out and bounced over the crease, Curry just does a little chip shot in front. You saw Hextall pull it out. We'll get a real good look at it from this angle. To the left of your screen, Curry coming in. He's got the guy checking him in a bad position. Mark Howe was behind him. There it is. One bounce behind the line. You can always tell by how hard the goalie actually argues the call. And Ron Hextall basically didn't argue it at all. You could tell it was a goal.
Jari Kurri. That's his second goal of the night. He has his 19th of the year, 4 unanswered Edmonton goals as Gretzky comes to center ice. And Edmonton leads it 4-3. Well, that's dangerous. Hextall letting that puck come right in front of the net. That'll be an icing against Philadelphia. There's 15:47 to go in the third period. And the Oilers exciting this crowd with a 4-3 lead.
Introducing the G-Shock 5200 watch from Casio. The sports watch that's ready for action with a built-in shock absorber. It's tough. So tough, this G-Shock can take a slap in the face. And not even flinch. The G-Shock 5200, just one of Casio's water-resistant sports watches. It's one tough watch to beat.
It starts early. A distant rumble. You can feel it getting closer. Magical, unstoppable. NHL hockey. Feel the thunder.
I'm Bobby Valentine, and I'm here to tell you all you get if you order Sports Illustrated now.
I'm Terry Forster, and I'd like to order some more nachos now. Waitress,
If you order Sports Illustrated now, you not only get the best weekly coverage of all your sports, you get the big baseball preview and the famous swimsuit issue. So you'll know what's new at the ballpark and the beach.
Does it come with a salad?
No, Terry, it comes with great savings. Over 50% off the cover price. Just call this toll-free number now and save on 27 issues at the low basic rate, payable in 3 monthly installments of only $9.79 each, or if you prefer, use your credit card.
What's for dessert?
Terry, included with the baseball preview is this handy Major League Baseball schedule, free, plus this video classic NFL Crunch Course. It's a big hit, and it's free with your paid subscription.
Free, huh?
If you call now.
Can I get a phone, please?
Call 1-800-221-8100.
Sports Illustrated? I like to order everything on the menu. Bobby, could you please pass me the swimsuit issue?
In Winnipeg, watch the puck on the boards. Number 22 in white, Mario Marois of Winnipeg comes over the puck right here. He'll shoot. Now in front screening is Dale Hawerchuk. He deflects it in, but Kerry Taco, the Minnesota goaltender, felt that he was upended. He lost the argument. And now here is Keith Acton, just seconds ago, tying the game for Minnesota. So Minnesota and Winnipeg, 4-4 tie in the third. Minnesota's goalie, Kerry Taco, got a 10-minute misconduct complaining about Hawerchuk upending him, but it's 4-4 in Winnipeg in the third. Ken?
Here's the face-off, won by Philadelphia. Derek Smith with Cockett and Sutter. And offside on the play is Sutter. That Edmonton goal to break the tie at 3:48 here in the third period. Curry is 19th. From McTavish and Tikkanen. Tikkanen assisting on 2 of the 4 Edmonton goals.
Ken, when I talk about discipline, one of the things is going offside. There's Ron Sutter. He just went offside on a nice 3-on-2 rush. There's nothing that will squash it quicker than a whistle blowing. That's one of the areas of the Flyers, when I talk about them straying from their disciplined game, it shows itself in symptoms like that, like the team going offside, just a little over-anxious. It's interesting to see if Edmonton can play a disciplined enough style to hold them off now, or whether they'll go for more goals. I'm not sure Edmonton can play a tight enough game to hold the Flyers off for 15 minutes. I think they need another goal.
That time, Mellanby offside for Philadelphia. Keep in mind, the Flyers are coming off a loss at Vancouver, preceded by a loss at Buffalo, preceded by a near loss to St. Louis at home. Of course, Edmonton, in their last 2 games, a loss and a tie, and a hard-fought, lucky victory over Vancouver. So neither one of these teams have been that successful at winning lately. But I think they're playing some outstanding hockey here, as you would expect from the top 2 teams in the NHL. Messier is stopped. Both teams are at full strength. Cecil gets the puck to Mellanby. Over the line, but losing the puck. And Messier back with McClellan and Anderson. Anderson getting the pass, but not expecting it. Ed Hospodar for Philadelphia. To Mellanby off his stick. This will be an icing call as Coffey touches the puck. It's the NHL on ESPN, and the Oilers lead the Flyers 4-3.
Mankind has always been pressed for time.
Kostoff Flowers is now Kostoff Marcus Flowers. And we understand how special your greetings, remembrances, condolences, and happy thoughts are to those you care about. Let the Kostoff Marcus Rosemobile deliver your floral gift today, and let that special someone know you care. Kostoff Marcus Flowers makes it easy. Just call 563-3110 and charge it to your Visa, American Express, or MasterCard. And for your convenience, we're open Sunday from 10 to 3. Because you care enough to send flowers, Kostoff Marcus Flowers cares enough to make them perfect.
Makes you feel like a winner at Red Holman.
Red Holman makes you feel like a winner with Pontiac, GMC trucks, and Toyotas. Located on 10 acres of land to better serve you with over 1.5 million parts inventory plus a great service department.
They make you feel like a winner at Red Holman.
Red Holman, Pontiac, GMC, and Toyota.
Feeling like a winner.
Lose weight. There are diets that are short on meat, diets that are low on protein. Some cut out almost everything but fruits and vegetables, and some even ask you to fast. But the best way to lose weight isn't with some gimmicky diet. It's by controlling your appetite, by exercising, and by eating a balanced diet with foods from the 4 basic groups: poultry, meat, or fish for protein, vegetables and fruit for vitamins and minerals, breads and cereals for carbohydrates, and milk and cheeses for calcium. Any diet that doesn't include all of these important groups can do you more harm than good. So if you're considering a diet or are now on one, remember, there's no diet that can compare with a balanced diet. This Food for Thought was brought to you by Campbell Soup Company. We make all of these products, and we make sure every one of them is as good for you as it is good tasting. Campbell, we'd like to help more Americans eat right.
These two teams met in the 1985 Stanley Cup Finals. They could well meet in the 1987 Stanley Cup Finals here on ESPN. The Oilers and the Flyers. Oilers at home here in the third period with a one-goal lead. Brad McCrimmon gets the puck up. Bookaboom, a good job at the point. Here's Kulak. On with Krushelnyski and Napier in front. And Coffey with a good chance, unable to get the good shot away. Ron Sutter for Philadelphia. Krushelnyski banging around. Napier. Coffey, and Hextall quickly gets the save. He got his stick and his pad out to stop Coffey. Poulin for Philadelphia to Ron Sutter. And Coffey ties him up long enough to break up the play. 14:15 is the time remaining in the third period. Crossman on defense with Samuelson. Here's Tim Kerr for Philadelphia as the Flyers change players. Low intercepting. Feed to an open wing. The Oilers changing. Shell Samuelson. Wow, rammed by Kulak. Samuelson wants to make sure he's got both arms, and the Oilers are offside. What a check on Shell Samuelson. The Oilers lead the Flyers 4-3.
From the investor's point of view, with
the biggest sale in the history of Scanlon Music is on now. Everything in the store, electric and acoustic guitars, strings, cases, synthesizers, amps, drums, cymbals, and more on sale at unheard-of prices. See the top names in electric guitars like Gibson, Kramer, Fender, and B.C. Rich. Acoustic guitars from Washburn and Martin. Scanlon has a huge music.
Looking for a family doctor who's available when it's convenient for your busy schedule? Then you'll be happy to learn that AmeriCare Medical Center is open in Fairlane Town Center, 7 days a week, all mall hours. From exams to office surgery, from treatment of common ailments to immediate walk-in emergency care, visit AmeriCare. Our many on-site services include a laboratory, physical therapy, x-rays, EKGs, hearing, and vision testing. For complete family medical care, visit AmeriCare. Call 271-0340.
Get in the action. Come on, get into it. Come on.
Now you're in the NFL when you get into your NFL team jacket by Starter, because now you can get the real thing. The same team jackets Mike Ditka and the other NFL coaches and players wear.
That's my jacket.
Now it can be your jacket. To order your authentic NFL team jacket by Starter, call 1-800-453-2800. Have your credit card ready. Show your true colors. Get the jacket your favorite NFL team wears. Custom tailored, custom designed to NFL specs. Snap front, washable satin jacket. Fully lined, warm and comfortable. And with your name embroidered on it. Authentic NFL Pro Look. Call 1-800-453-2800.
Well, Ken, from up here, it's easy to see those big hits shaping up. Stu Kulak coming across the ice and taking a chunk out of 6'6" Shell Samuelson. And you cringe. If you've ever been a player, you cringe when you see it coming. But obviously, Samuelson did not pick up Kulak coming until the last minute, and by then it was too late.
The old open ice body check. Muni gets the puck in for Edmonton. Crossman for Philadelphia. To Brown. Out too far for Carson. It's yours, it's mine, it's yours, it's mine. And Craig McTavish cutting in on the right wing. Can't get around Crossman. Edmonton leads by a goal. Muni shot goes right to Hextall. Off at least one or two legs, and he makes the save.
How about some traffic? It looked like a train of traffic in front. Great move by McTavish, going all the way around the net to find somebody open. The shot is fired by Muni that goes off the defensive leg. What a crowd. I mean, had that been on an open spot, there's absolutely no way Hextall could have stopped it. But Hextall in that situation made the smart play. He was down. He had the pad covering one side of the net because Muni's job is not to fire a high shot from there, but fire a deflectable shot, and he did that. It was low. Hextall knew it was coming and was ready for it. But what traffic in front of that net. The Oilers are playing smarter in jamming the front of the Flyers' net.
Philadelphia got 3 goals in the first period. Edmonton came back with 3 in the second period, and Jari Kurri has his second of the night here in period 3 at 3:48. 4-3 Oilers. Out comes Rick Tocchet to Derek Smith. Stopped by Muni. Now Mark Howe to Derek Smith. Dave Hunter breaks up the play. And things a little tighter here with an offside play. More close checking than I think we've seen at any time tonight, now at this stage of the game.
Well, you can attribute some of that to the fact that Marty McSorley is out there now, McTavish, McClellan. These guys can really check. Wayne Gretzky takes the puck and hangs onto it, and that's his form of checking. He's just not giving it to the other teams, but we'll see a lot of Edmonton's good defensive players from now to the end, Ken.
Budweiser keeping the action going. That clean, crisp taste for all you do. This Bud's for you. Budweiser and the folks at Anheuser-Busch. Wishing you a happy holiday and a happy new year. Less than 13 minutes to go in regulation time. Gretzky hits Howe's skate. Howe clears the zone. Smith there. And Jari Kurri, a pass to Gretzky. He tries to Harlem Globetrotter it a bit and can't get it done. I'm just glad to see him try that between the legs blind back pass.
He saw Tikkanen coming. He knew that if he could execute, he had him.
Can you imagine even trying that in a game?
Intentionally or accidentally? I think I might have stumbled upon that play accidentally a couple of times.
The face-off will be in the neutral zone. If you joined us late, by the way, Wayne Gretzky has scored his 36th goal of the year. It was an unassisted goal, the tying goal in the second period. Now Gretzky centering Kurri and Tikkanen. Eklund is on with Poulin and Kerr. We got some firepower out there now for these two teams. Grossman on defense with Samuelson for Philadelphia.
Ken, if there's something that's in Edmonton's favor in holding off the Flyers, we go back to Brian Propp and Ilka Sinisalo being out, 2 of their big snipers. They could really use guys like that at this stage of the game.
Randy Gregg, he's teamed on defense with Smith. Grossman, screen shot. Poulin's deflection fails. Kerr in front, tied up. As was Eklund. Gretzky with Kurri, 3-on-2. Kurri tries to go to Gretzky, might well have gone to Tikkanen on the right wing. Eklund banking the puck for Poulin, and he's beaten to it by Gregg. Kurri to Tikkanen. Now Gretzky, 12 minutes to go in the third period. Gretzky to Coffey. Tikkanen can't steer the puck in front. Gretzky trying to steal it from Poulin. Flyers slowly out of their own zone. Tim Kerr. And both teams are going to complete a line change here. Oilers lead 4-3. They have outshot Philadelphia 19-18. Now 20-18. Here's Paul Coffey, 2-time Norris Trophy winner, to Glenn Anderson. He's knocked down by Howe. And back for the puck is Coffey. Out of the net, Hextall. Messier in the corner. Hospodar hit in a big way by McClellan. Now Howe, who has not had an outstanding game tonight, leading Philadelphia. Whoa, what a nice little wrist shot that was.
It's little in motion, but big in velocity. He really fires with his wrist, and it's almost imperceptible, the motion of his hands, but he really snaps it.
You mean he might be strong like Dad?
No, it might be. The wrists might run in the family, yeah.
Here he is again, Mark Howe. We did a little flip. 10:40 to go in the third period. Darryl Stanley breaks up the play, then Lowe is stopped. Here's Messier for Edmonton. To Napier off his skate. Samuelson. And Krushelnyski intercepting to Kevin Lowe. The pass behind Stu Kulak. It's 4-3. Edmonton. Samuelson front by Kulak. But Brown, a big hitter for Philadelphia, comes to center ice. Moog will play the puck right onto Brown's stick. Centering to Crossman. Samuelson keeps it in. Now trying to get in front is Carson, and he's unable to move forward with the puck. Mike Krushelnyski, the ex-Boston Bruin, surveying the situation. Less than 10 minutes to go in regulation time. Play much more conservative. Many, many more checks. Clear defensive style now in this 4-3 contest. Brown stopped. After the puck is Eklund. He cannot elude Craig Muni. Kulak comes in to help out. And Muni keeps the puck in play and backhands it the length of the ice. Crossman will touch it. It'll be an icing call against Edmonton. And there's 9:15 to go in the third.
Do you like to draw, sketch, or...
In 1923, Dearborn residents looked to Bob Ford for quality cars at affordable prices. 63 years later, Bob Ford is Fairlane Ford, and Dearborn residents still look to Fairlane for their Ford cars. Fairlane responds with 3.9% APR financing or $300 cash assistance on Ford Escorts and DXPs. That's 3.9% on Ford Escort and DXP. Annual percentage rate determined by length of finance terms. Rates vary. Ask for details. Fairlane Ford, Michigan Avenue, just east of Greenfield in the heart of Dearborn.
Get acquainted with the Gourmet's Delight, Dearborn specialty food and catering shop featuring incredible edibles for all occasions. Rich torte cakes, specialty pastries, unusual cheesecakes, fruit sculptures, cookies galore, and much, much more. Have a special lunch this week. Fantastic homemade soup with a mile-high deli sandwich. For that very special person you really care about this Christmas, the Gourmet's Delight has unique gift baskets that are truly an Epicurean's fantasy. Party time, snack time, lunchtime, or special occasion, visit Gourmet's Delight on Schaefer between Michigan and Ford Road.
At fours, we'll switch and show you that it is Kari Taco in goal, and Maloney, the head coach of the Jets, looking on. About 8 minutes to go, maybe less than that now. 4-4, North Stars and Jets. A lot of penalties been called. We'll keep you up to date. Now let's go back to Northlands Coliseum and Ken Wilson.
An offside play, Edmonton at the Philadelphia line. 9:02 to go, and the Oilers with a 4-3 lead. How do you see this now, Bill? We mentioned tighter checking, more defense. More of the big, husky, rougher players have been in action from both sides now.
I'll tell you one guy that will remember tonight's game, and that's 6'6" Shell Samuelson, the newest Flyer who came in the trade for Bob Froese. He has been whacked around, and I can't imagine no one has taught him to keep his elbows a little higher and his stick a little higher. I'm not saying to use it aggressively against someone, but when you're 6'6", people have to run into it, and yet he takes it time and time again.
Smith for Edmonton. With a tight checking, you kind of like Philadelphia's chances, yet you've still got the big play personnel for Edmonton. McSorley for the Oilers. Al Hospodar after the puck for Philadelphia. He gets sandwiched. Brad Marsh hit by McSorley. Lindsey Carson for Peter Zezel. Mellanby and Smith in a race for the puck. Smith gets it, but Carson intercepting. Lindsey Carson in front for Marsh, too well covered. Hospodar beat to the puck. This is Peter Zezel. Hospodar mixing it up behind the play with Smith. It is offside Philadelphia. There's a break in the action. The Oilers lead by a goal as the fight breaks out behind Andy Moog. That is Dave Hunter and I believe Scott Mellanby.
Yeah. Boy, Mellanby made a smart play before this started, too. He was coming down the wing. The play was broken up, and instead of going for the big skate, he stopped dead on the blue line, and that allowed the Flyers to actually penetrate the zone.
At the Northland Coliseum, Edmonton 4, Philadelphia 3.
For sports excitement in January,
Pierre Cardin, Robert Wagner, Bill Blass, and you, looking sharp at Brothers Formal Wear. See yourself in one of nearly 30 styles, over 20 color combinations. Brothers has the style, color, and size you want. It's all at one great location across from Jacobson's. So don't put it off when you should be putting it on. For your wedding, prom, or special occasion, Brothers has it all. Across from Jacobson's, West Dearborn.
Get acquainted with the Gourmet's Delight, Dearborn specialty food and catering shop featuring incredible edibles for all occasions. Rich torte cakes, specialty pastries, unusual cheesecakes, fruit sculptures, cookies galore, and much, much more. Have a special lunch this week. Fantastic homemade soup with a mile-high deli sandwich. For that very special person you really care about this Christmas, the Gourmet's Delight has unique gift baskets that are truly an Epicurean's fantasy. Party time, snack time, lunchtime, or special occasion, visit Gourmet's Delight on Schaefer between Michigan and Ford Road.
I'm gonna miss you, Jane.
Saying goodbye is never easy.
Jane, telephone, America.
But with AT&T International Long Distance, it's easy to say hello. Because a 10-minute call to France can average just 71 cents a minute.
So are you sophisticated yet? Sort of.
Only AT&T keeps you this close anywhere in the world.
Experience an incredible advance in Gillette shaving smoothness. Atra Plus. The Plus is the white Lubri-Smooth strip that releases lubricants as you shave. You never felt anything smoother. Atra Plus by Gillette, the essence of shaving.
No one really knows how your skin got sensitive. But if it is, try the shave cream with more advanced lubricants than any other. New Gillette Foamy for sensitive skin.
Elsewhere in the NHL tonight, Calgary wins its fifth game in its last six, beating Buffalo 4-1. Minnesota, Winnipeg, still tied at 4, late third period. Washington and Chicago are underway in the third period. Capitals hanging on to a 4-3 lead. And in the Calgary Cup, the Soviets still lead Czechoslovakia 2-0 back to Edmonton. Ken?
Fighting penalties to Hunter and Mellenby at 11:45 of this third period. Both teams playing it at full strength. Edmonton up by a goal. Jari Kurri bidding for the hat trick. Crossman on defense for Philadelphia with Samuelson. Pulling up front with Kerr. And they have Howe up front. Howe for the rebound, and he can't get the shot as the puck is held by the young defenseman, Jeff Bukaboom. Mark Howe, who was an outstanding junior winger in amateur hockey in Canada, playing some forward here.
He can play every position, Candy, every skating position. He's not a goalie, obviously. Left defense, right defense, both wing positions, and center. Nice play by young Jeff Bukaboom to hang on to that puck as Howe was right by him. Watch Howe move in. He'll move in. He can sense great hockey sense. That runs in the family as well. Just when Howe was going to snap it, Bukaboom covered up. And that play, Curry and Coffey actually got a little confused and tangled up their skates to the blue line. That's what let the Flyers penetrate.
Flyers putting the heat on now. They trail by a goal. Crossman wide. Kerr. Crossman shoots. He scores. Doug Crossman ties it at 4.
Boy, you would think that the Oilers would have learned from that chance right before that when Mark Howe nearly stole the puck from Bukaboom. This time, Crossman will be so lonely in front of the net. Nobody's near him. Both Oiler defensemen are back in. Now, there should have been a third Oiler there, a forward. Most likely Wayne Gretzky at the centerman's duty, but anybody could have covered for him. The defenseman can only do so much back in there, Ken. One of the forwards has to stag back. Defending deep in your zone is a 3-man job, not a 2-man job. That time the Oilers only had 2.
Out Tocchet. And Coffey with a good defensive play to stop Derek Smith. It is 4-4. 7.5 minutes remaining here in Edmonton, Alberta. Tikkanen against Samuelson. They've run at each other all night. Gretzky eludes Sutter. Look at this. What a save by Hextall on Gretzky. And there is an unbelievable example of the way Gretzky can stop, start, and move. There's a break in the action. It is 4-4.
Sure, the pride is back. Plymouth Sundance and Plymouth Voyager are the proof. Plymouth Sundance, the unbelievable American under $7,800. Sundance, the best value of any car in its class. Versatile Plymouth Voyager, front-wheel drive, car-like handling, spacious Plymouth Voyager. Plymouth's 550 protection plan backs them both.
The pride is back, born in America again.
AT&T is in graphic detail.
Hi, Hiroshi. Are you sitting down?
Oh, sure. What's up?
Look at the fax machine. The next sight you see will be the Warren contract. Signed, sealed, and delivered.
We got it.
We Got it.
When you use AT&T long-distance service, you can fax good news in graphic detail to Tokyo and all over the world.
Feels good to win, doesn't it?
I could get used to it.
AT&T, the right choice.
Introducing the G-Shock 5200 watch from Casio. The sports watch that's ready for action with a built-in shock absorber. It's tough, so tough, this G-Shock can take a slap in the face. And not even flinch. The G-Shock 5200, just one of Casio's water-resistant sports watches. It's one tough watch to beat.
Well, I can't believe that move by Wayne Gretzky, and you really never know which way he's going to go, what he's going to do.
Not only does he move quicker and can change directions quicker than anyone in the league, but he doesn't telegraph at all. Ron Sutter was beside himself. He was so angry that he let Gretzky do that, but he's not the first guy to get, to be a victim of Wayne Gretzky.
That tying goal, Crossman is second of the night, fourth of the year at 12-18. Kerr and Poole assisting. McClellan stopped. He shoots again. And somehow, Kevin McClellan stopped twice by Ron Hextall. You could feel the electricity, Bill Clement, all night between these two teams. And here you come down to the last few minutes.
McClellan had a great shot here from a decent angle, Ken. But the real save that Hextall made, the great save was this one where he stretches out with his left arm. We can't see it from here. McClellan really didn't have the puck in a position to try and get it over Hextall. We'll see it again. Here's McClellan. Now he swings the puck from far on his forehand. All he could do was chip on it. Went under Hextall's right arm. He was able to stop it with his left hand. I'll tell you, Grant Fuhrer said before the game, I'd give anything to have Ron Hextall's size, and there is an indication of the advantage of being 6'3". Your arms are 6'3" arms.
Ron Hextall has been almost an Iron Man in goal for Philadelphia. He's played the majority of their games. As the tempers flare, Derek Smith and Glenn Anderson bumping. Doug Crossman has scored twice tonight for Philadelphia. Also Derek Smith and Ron Sutter. Jari Kurri, 2 goals for the Oilers. Mark Messier and Wayne Gretzky, the other goals. 7:04 remaining in the third period. 4-4. The NHL's top 2 teams, the Flyers and Oilers, meeting for the third and final time during the regular season. Philadelphia winning twice already at home, 2-1 and 5-2. Messier against Sutter. Anderson and McClellan with Messier. Anderson back to the point. The shot hits a player as Muni let her fly. Ron Sutter with Tocchet and Smith. Back for the puck, Anderson. He can skate. The pass thrown too sharply as Anderson and Sutter want to go at it at center ice, and icing against Edmonton. And the Peacemakers intercede. And down to 6:45 to go in regulation play. Our next action here on ESPN, the NHL tonight, a week from Tuesday night. Tuesday, January the 6th, we'll see the Flyers at home against the vastly improved New Jersey Devils. That'll be at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. And the following week, Tuesday, January 13th, it'll be Pittsburgh against the New York Islanders on Long Island. Well, more penalties being handed out by referee Ron Fournier.
Something sure happened to that icing call. The play looks as if it's going to be started deep in the Flyers' end now. Sure, Glenn Sather doesn't mind that, but Brad Marsh was talking it over with our head referee for tonight, Ron Fournier. There's Dave Poulin talking it over.
He is explaining why the icing doesn't result in a face-off at the other end. High sticking to Anderson, roughing to Sutter. Time of the penalties, 13:15, just 30 seconds after the, or I should say 2 minutes after the Hunter and Mellanby fighting penalties. So they're already off. You get late in the game, you're looking for some legs, and 4 players sitting in the penalty box.
Well, that's just to have a little rest. Those are the guys that will have the legs when they come out.
They'll be ready in overtime. Mellanby, that one almost slipped by him. Howe clears the zone. Poulin is onside. Smith back. Poke checks Poulin. Crucial missed it. McSorley. Then Kerr trying to center, broken up. Gregg to McTavish. 6:25 to go. 4-4. The Oilers on the offense. Crossman yanking at McTavish. Krushelnyski bumped by Howe. McSorley to Gregg. Crossman just clears the puck out. Two teams changing. Doug Crossman with 2 goals. And Tocchet is offside on the left wing. Well, with all the action and excitement here, there are other games going on. Let's check on that action with Tom Meade.
Okay, Ken Wilson in Buffalo. Calgary wins a 5th game in its last 6, beating the Sabres 4-1. Winnipeg and Minnesota now very late third period, still tied at 4. Possibility of overtime there. Washington leads Chicago 5-4. Ed Olczyk has just scored for Chicago, and we understand that Winnipeg has just scored to take a 5-4 lead. Doug Smale has scored to make it 5-4. Winnipeg leads Minnesota very late in that game. Ken?
Here it is 4-4. 5:45 is the time remaining in the third period. Tocchet ridden to the boards. Gretzky with a punt. Jari Kurri with a pair tonight. With Tikkanen and Gretzky. Samuelsson takes out Kurri. Eklund gets the punt to Derek Smith. 2-on-2 with Tocchet. Low back with Tikkanen. Tikkanen takes out Tocchet. Then Tocchet gets a shot. Moog not seeing the puck, but it's underneath his pad.
Well, you see how quickly he looked behind him? He knew it was either under him or behind him because it was not in front of him. Pretty nice play by Asa Tikkanen. He got caught back there on defense when Muni pinched in, so it ended up being low, and Asa Tikkanen, who was not a defenseman back there, Tikkanen reacted just like a defenseman should react. He crossed over and took his man.
We mentioned we're watching 3 of the top 5 scorers in the league here tonight. We've seen Gretzky score and Messier. We have not seen Tim Kerr score for Philadelphia. Ed Hospodar, a veteran defenseman, played with the Rangers, the Whalers, and the North Stars briefly. Well, setting up for these face-offs is not that routine a matter, especially late in a tight game.
No, you really want to make sure that you have your signals straight. Someone misses an assignment and the opposition wins the face-off. Bing, look behind you, it's in the goal. So they just want to make sure that everyone knows where they're going and what their assignments are.
Kerr against McTavish, who wins the draw, but Kerr pulls ahead. Trying to get the puck in front, he does. Tocchet and Poulin too well covered. Back comes Krushelnyski. In front for McSorley, tied up by Howe. March. Puck still in the Edmonton offensive zone. This is Hospodar. Muni for Edmonton, too low. They're the defense team in front of Moog. 4:45 remaining in the third period. It is 4-4. Flyers back for the punt. Winnipeg, Minnesota going at it in Winnipeg. They've got a wild and woolly game there that we'll keep you very close to. Here's Bukaboom. In front for McTavish. A pass for Krushelnyski, broken up, then McSorley getting a whack. Krushelnyski shoots. Hextall somehow stops that. Oh, what a play. Icing a call against Philadelphia. Let's find out what's happening with the North Stars and the Jets.
All right, Ken Wilson, with about 2 minutes to go in Winnipeg, the white-clad Jets come in on the Minnesota goaltender, Kari Taco. Taco's faced a lot of rubber along with Beaupre tonight. Gilles Lamel will take the shot. Here comes the puck, the save. The rebound comes out in front to Doug Smale, who shoots and scores. And that score was the 45th shot on goal in this game of the Winnipeg Jets. They lead at 5-4 with under 2 minutes to play. Let's go back to Edmonton and Ken Wilson.
Tom, we're down to 4:11 to go in the third period, tied at 4.
You'll see Wayne Gretzky out on the ice. I'm sure everyone that knows anything about him would guess that, and he's out now.
Samuelsson smashing the puck off the boards. Here's Coffey. Coffey, Tikkanen, Gretzky, Kurri, and Gregg on the ice for Glenn Sather's Oilers. They were down 3-0 going into the second period. Tocchet centering, no one there. Ron Sutter. Tocchet, Derek Smith, and the puck deflects to Kurri. Gretzky with Tikkanen. That play closes up. Look at this. Randy Gregg to Gretzky. He shoots and scores. Wayne Gretzky. That is greatness.
Wayne Gretzky, before he scores, Ken, is so open. Randy Gregg will have the puck, and then Gretzky will end up all alone. Gregg jams him. He doesn't make a good pass, and Hextall dives out thinking Gretzky has possession. He's unable to get back in time. He overcommitted and wasn't able to get back in time. Gretzky, the puck follows him like a magnet. Look how he uses his feet. Right around the net. Hextall, boy, his eyes have to be wide open at this stage. Who's hanging on the side of the net? Kjell Samuelsson trying to do something. He looked like a fish out of water, hanging onto the net with his right hand, all twisted around. Boom.
Edmonton leads at 5-4 after trailing in the second period 3-0. Cecil stuck. Muni whacks the puck off the boards, kept in by Hospodar. And now the Oilers break out Messier with McClellan and Anderson. McClellan for Muni. Messier. McClellan. And Kerr. A little sloppy, giving the Oilers another opportunity. Oilers goal, Gretzky, second of the night. He now has 37 goals in 37 games. Puck goes into the crowd. Craig and Curry assisting at 16:29. 5-4, Oilers lead. Let's go to Tom Meade.
All right, Ken Wilson. In Winnipeg, the Minnesota North Stars were awarded a penalty shot. They called Winnipeg for intentionally dislodging the goal. Here goes the North Stars on the penalty shot try. The shot and the save made by Eldon Pokey Reddick. So it's Winnipeg still on top in this game, 5-4, very late. You're taking another look at it. This is Kent Nilsson coming in. He took the penalty shot. Reddick went down and just got the pad on the ice in time to keep the puck out of the net. And there it is. Winnipeg still on top by a score of 5-4. That is the live shot of Eldon Pokey Reddick. Now let's go back to Edmonton, where Gretzky has just given the Oilers a 5-4 lead. Ken Wilson?
Wayne Gretzky tonight, live and in color on the NHL tonight. Scored the tying goal to make it 3-3. In the second period, his side there, and now broken the tie here at 16:29 of the third period. McSorley to McCammon. Scores! Oilers up by 2, and the crowd up here in Edmonton.
Ken, you talked earlier about Marty McSorley's hands. He did an about face on this, and what a great play. And Ron Hextall overcommits again. Watch to the right of the screen. Look how far out Hextall is. He thinks McSorley's going to shoot. He just pops it back, and McTavish has a wide open net. Heads-up play by Marty McSorley. Draws 2 flyers. That leaves McTavish there with some token checking by Kelly Eklund. Sloppier than you would anticipate the Flyers playing at this stage of the game. Nobody covering Hextall. 2 guys going over to McSorley, and Eklund standing right beside the goal scorer, McTavish.
That's the 10th goal of the year for McTavish. It's a big one at 17:33. So 2 Oiler goals in the span of 1 minute and 4 seconds. Gretzky, then McTavish. Krushelnyski and McSorley assisting on McTavish's goal. And the Oilers down at 1 point, 3-0. Lead here 6-4. Exactly 2 minutes to go. Crossman to Mellanby with Howe. Poulin trying to center. The Oilers come up with a puck. Gretzky with Curry and Tikkanen. And it is offside, Edmonton. And now the Flyers looking at a 2-goal deficit down to 1 minute 44 in regulation time.
And should they not be able to come back, I think we know Mike Keenan well enough to know that this will eat at Mike worse than an ordinary loss. They were up 3-0 in the first. That is supposed to be their forte. The Oilers realize that, playing with the lead, and yet they've let it slip away here tonight. It'll be a long night for Coach Mike Keenan and the Flyers. You know, he was telling us today, too, he let a lot of the team go home to their Canadian towns for Christmas. They split the team up. Half practiced in Vancouver before the group from Philadelphia went there. And what did they do? They went out and lost against Vancouver. And if he had it to do over again, he probably would not let them have that time off. So it's one of those things. Treat them nice, and what happens? It backfires. He was known as a disciplinarian. I got a hunch that he'll go back to cracking the whip with these Flyers.
Now with that offside play, 1:29 to go. And here's Tom Mees.
Ken Wilson at Chicago Stadium. The Blackhawks have come back from the dead. Dennis Savard to Doug Wilson, who shoots right in front of the rebound. Wayne Presley scores. The Blackhawks have tied it up at 5 with under 10 minutes to go. The Blackhawks 5 and the Capitals 5. Ken Wilson?
Oilers with a puck with a 6-4 lead and 1:20 to go. Remarkable comeback tonight by Edmonton. The Flyers now are looking at their 3rd consecutive loss. And their next game is also on the road in Los Angeles against the improved Kings.
And then they go to Washington. 5 consecutive games on the road, and they haven't played that many on the road this year. This is a tough time for the Flyers.
Philadelphia with only 9 losses. Stanley shot wide. Less than a minute to go here in Edmonton. Brown intercepting Gretzky's pass, shoots, hits the side of the net. Dave Brown centers, and it's Jari Kurri. 40 seconds left. Kurri with Gretzky, maybe to add insult to injury, both with 2 goals. Kurri shooting wide. Half a minute remaining. The Oilers by 2. Morally a significant victory, certainly for Edmonton. Salvaging 1 win in 3 meetings this season with Philadelphia.
And they will draw to within 4 points of Philadelphia in the overall standings.
The team with the best overall record, of course, would have home ice advantage throughout the Stanley Cup playoffs. These 2 teams could well meet in the Stanley Cup Finals in 1987, as they did in 1985, with Edmonton winning the Stanley Cup. Now just 9 seconds remaining. Edmonton leading at 6-4, out-shooting Philadelphia tonight, 26-22. In this 3rd period, it was 3-3 going in. Kurri scored early, 4-3 Edmonton. Then at 12-18, Crossman tied it. But Gretzky scored at 16:29, McTavish at 17:33. And Edmonton wins this one here tonight before a capacity crowd at the Northlands Coliseum.
Pretty tough to win a hockey game, Ken, when you're pinned in your own end for most of the period, and that's what the Oilers did to the Flyers. They are the most vulnerable. The Oilers are in their own end. What do? They tried to play on the Flyers' end, and they were very successful in doing that and were able to pressure enough to get the win.
Edmonton getting 3 of the 4 goals in the last period, and Bill out shooting Philadelphia 10-5 in period number 3. Andy Moog played the last couple of periods, and that switch might have been a big factor from Pure to Moog.
Oh, just a heck of a game. He really didn't have a weak save the entire game once he came into the game, and I have to give Glenn Sather some credit for pulling through and going with Moog.
Our player of the game, a pleasure to watch, Wayne Gretzky.
Yes, he can do it all. And once again, he has never disappointed me, Ken. It's difficult for me to say that I have ever seen him play a game that was not superb. If he does not score, the effort is at least always there.
Well, we'll see you next here on the NHL tonight on ESPN from the Spectrum in Philadelphia. The Flyers and the Devils, Tuesday night, January the 6th. And, of course, we hope that you have a very happy New Year. Final thought.
Final thought is that Philadelphia is in a real trying time at this stage. Certainly they got a bit of a cushion, but they have to prove that they can pull out of a skid, even without guys like Propp and Sinisalo. Edmonton, as you mentioned, a big moral victory. They could very well widen the gap considerably in their own Smythe division at this stage.
Well, we'll see more of the Flyers, more of the Oilers, I'm sure, on the NHL tonight on ESPN. Tom Mees is standing by. He has a lot more, so stay tuned. For Bill Clement, Ken Wilson, thanks for joining us tonight. The final score, Edmonton 6, Philadelphia 4.
Take me back where I belong. Take me where it's safe and warm.
The Goodyear Vector is the all-season radial that pumps water away to keep more tire tread on the road. And for some, that's a comforting thought.
Take me home. Goodyear, take me home. Never matters how far I go. Goodyear, take me home.
Plymouth Voyager shows you why the pride is back.
This is the place, the promised land. This is the place where you'll make your stand.
Spacious Spacious Plymouth Voyager, still way ahead of the competition. Versatile Plymouth Voyager, the only one with front-wheel drive, car-like handling, and a 5-year or 50,000-mile protection plan. Of course, the pride is back.
The pride is back. Born in America again.
Imagine the power of two great computer companies coming together as one. Resources not just doubled, but raised to the power of two. Introducing Unisys. True competition in the computer industry, and a single winner will emerge. You.
Undelivered so many of your holiday circuitors, I thought I'd check out these Ace Best Buys myself. My wife will love the Chicago Cutlery Gourmet Sampler.
This Quality 2 knife set is just $9.77.
And a Sharp Solar Calculator for Scotty.
Best Buy price at just $5.88.
Ah, this 13-piece drill minder set for the old man.
It's only $4.88 with a $2 rebate.
I'll be back after rounds and pick them up.
Okay.
Oh, I feel like Santa myself. Ho, ho, ho.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware man.
In case you tuned in late tonight, where you been? Been so much going on in the National Hockey League tonight, and you've seen most all of it right here on the NHL tonight. Let's run down the scoreboard quickly. Calgary has beaten Buffalo by a score of 4-1. Meanwhile, in other action, Minnesota has... Let's go to Chicago. Now, let's go live to Chicago Stadium. The Blackhawks have just scored late to take a 6-5 lead. Let's catch the replay with Mike Forens and Al Token. It was a goal by Dennis Savard. Mike?
And the Hawks take the lead 6-5. The Capitals had the line they wanted out there. Bob Gould, Duchesne, and Francis Kenny. Kevin Hatcher, though, tries to use the stick as Savard's speed gets around Hatcher and jumps down the angle, and then the backhander. We said it's the most difficult shot to goaltend against because you don't know where it's going. And you can see here, Bob Mason really has no idea where this is going on the backhand side. But the speed and shiftiness of Savard makes that play from one end of the ice to the other. This crowd is on its feet cheering Dennis Savard and the Hawks, who have roared into a 6-5 lead. It's the first time in the game that Chicago has led. Here comes Scott Stevens for Washington cutting in. Fires, and Sauve with the save.